Chapter 492. Clang! A throwing knife suddenly flew out and nailed the carriage door. The travel-worn man tilted his head and gently licked his lips. Tian Tian. Li Fan didn't understand why Tian Tian suddenly made a move. Brotherly, he's a black card assassin from King of Hell Palace. Tian Tian quickly explained, he's coming for us. Little girl, how can you talk nonsense? The travel-worn man pulled out a scimitar from his waist. I'm indeed a black card assassin, but I'm not coming for you. He said, his eyes fell on Li Fan. I'm coming for him. King of Hell Palace? Is it an assassin organization? Li Fan has already guessed most of it, but he appeared very indifferent. He just sat there looking at the man in front of him. It seems like a fledgling. The travel-worn man held the scimitar and stared at Li Fan. I really don't understand why you have the title of Little Overlord. However, today you will die in my hands. Remember my name. I'm a black card assassin from King of Hell Palace, Scorpion. As an assassin, don't you talk a bit too much? Li Fan let Tian Tian stand next to him. The current gentle version of Tian Tian, he didn't know how she would perform in a fight. But he was a man, how could he let a woman be in danger? It was even more impossible to rely on a woman to protect him. Brotherly, you have to be careful. King of Hell Palace's black card assassins are very powerful. Tian Tian reminded Li Fan from behind. Don't be afraid. Scorpion kindly reminded Li Fan, I will let you die without pain. With that, Scorpion suddenly jumped up and directly landed on the ceiling above his head, his whole body almost sticking to it. As an expert, flexible use of true chi is an essential ability for everyone. This Scorpion was like this. He circulated his true chi on the surface of his feet, like a suction cup, sucking the ceiling above his head, his whole body hanging upside down, his pair of eyes faintly emitted a red light. Scorpion suddenly pounced down, his body seemed to bring out a black phantom, and in an instant, he was in front of Li Fan. At the same time, the machete in his hand stabbed towards Li Fan's throat. This move was fast, accurate, and ruthless. It was many times stronger than the ghost-faced assassin that Li Fan had encountered. The scimitar was about to touch Li Fan's neck, but Li Fan only stretched out 3 fingers and pinched the scimitar. Clang! Li Fan's hand pressed down, dragging Scorpion's body and smashing him to the ground. Scorpion spat out a mouthful of blood, but no one knew what kind of martial arts he practiced, but it was as if he was smeared with oil, instantly slipping away from Li Fan's palm. What a little overlord. You live up to your reputation. Scorpion wiped the blood from the corner of his mouth. Li Fan's move was not light at all, causing him to suffer some internal injuries. Fortunately, I'm prepared. Just as he finished speaking, the window of the carriage was suddenly shattered. A pair of hands reached in from the outside and grabbed Li Fan's neck, strangling him and pulling him out of the window. Li Fan was surprised. This Scorpion actually arranged a companion outside the carriage? Although the underground tunnel outside was not as narrow as the subway, it was definitely not that wide. To be able to hide in such a place for so long, it could be seen how bold the assassin outside was. Let go of Brotherly. Tian Tian threw out a throwing knife, but when it hit the man's arm, it bounced off. This is bad. Tian Tian exclaimed, this man is wearing soft armor inside. Li Fan has been pulled out of the train and was in the middle of the whistling tunnel. Outside was a grinning shadow. No one knew what kind of evildoer he is, but he was pulling Li Fan as if he wanted to drag him to hell. Get lost. Li Fan grabbed the window with one hand and hit the man's lower abdomen with his elbow. The opponent was knocked away by Li Fan's elbow. His body immediately flew out and fiercely smashed into the opposite wall of the tunnel, causing gravel to fly out. But he had true chi protection on the outside and soft armor on the inside, so he was able to survive. Moreover, he crawled towards Li Fan on the back of the carriage. Scorpion was entangled by Tian Tian, while Li Fan flipped over and jumped in through the window, kicking Scorpion's body with both feet. Bang! Scorpion was kicked to the other side of the carriage by Li Fan. His body smashed into the window, causing cracks to appear on the window. This King of Hell sure has some tricks up his sleeves. They actually made a double assassination attempt on me. How did they know that I was coming to the Yellow Springs Road? Where did this assassin from King of Hell get this information? Could it be that Tian sold me out? That shouldn't be the case. Even if she hates me, she is still Murong Ying's person. She would not do something like betraying me for some brainless hatred. This is really strange. Li Fan could not figure it out. But now is not the time for him to think about these questions. Scorpion had already readjusted his state. Holding the curved blade, he sneered at Li Fan. Li Fan also circulated true qi throughout his body, focusing all his attention on Scorpion in front of him. Time is limited. He needs to kill this Scorpion in one blow before the other enemy arrives. Li Fan was just about to make his move when the ceiling was suddenly pierced by two arms. The assassin outside had actually locked Li Fan's head with both arms and hung him up just like that. Our teamwork is not bad, right? Scorpion laughed as he slashed at Li Fan's neck again. Li Fan raised his leg and kicked Scorpion away. At the same time, he entered the Dragon Emperor Snake state. Dragon Shattering Hand. Li Fan's right hand pierced through the iron sheet on top of his head. Following that, he felt his hand piercing through something hard, followed by a warm touch. Blood spurted out from the top of his head. The hands that were tightly wrapped around Li Fan also loosened. Scorpion had already attacked Li Fan from the side. The curved blade in his hand once again slashed at Li Fan. Spirit Snake bursts out of its hole. Li Fan's hand wrapped around Scorpion's arm, directly locking his attack, causing Scorpion to be stunned. Following that, Li Fan's four fingers instantly struck Scorpion's throat. This was not a light blow. Scorpion's face immediately turned green. He could not breathe for a long time. Both his hands clutched his throat, trying to gasp for air, but there was no oxygen flowing into his lungs. Who hired you? Li Fan questioned Scorpion, who was kneeling there, but Scorpion did not say anything to Li Fan. He glanced at Li Fan and suddenly swung his curved blade at Li Fan. Li Fan dodged to the side. The Scorpion had already jumped out of the window that had just been broken. They ran away. Tian looked out of the window. I can't see them. Looks like there is one more organization going against me. Li Fan looked at the blood on his hand and could not help but smile bitterly. Chapter 493. Let me help Brother Li check it out. Tian seemed to be better at such things. Maybe we can find out who the mastermind is. Forget it, forget it. It doesn't matter if there are more lice. Li Fan waved his hand. He was already used to such things. Counter soldiers with arms, water with an earth weir. I want to see what tricks Yen Luodian has up their sleeves. You have to be careful when you reach the Yellow Springs. These killers from Yen Luodian are everywhere. Tian reminded him. Since Brother Li has already placed a bounty on them, they will definitely pursue you to the death. I hope they are beauties. Li Fan smiled. There were too many things to worry about, and he didn't want to think about them anymore. How much longer until we reach the Yellow Springs? Li Fan asked. So, this train is quite fast. Yes. I can feel it. When he landed outside the train, he could already feel the crazy speed. Li Fan did not want to experience that thrill again. He sat in the carriage and waited for the train to reach its destination. After about 10 minutes, the train began to slow down. There was also a glimmer of light in the tunnel. We are about to reach our destination. Tian stood up and opened the carriage door. Welcome to the Yellow Springs. Damn, I can't accept this kind of welcome. But who asked the Phoenix King to give her territory such a name? What a weirdo. Tian led Li Fan down the train. Outside was a huge underground street. Li Fan felt as though he had arrived at a red light district. There were all kinds of brothels on both sides of the street. Red lanterns hung from the eaves, indicating a different kind of happiness on this street. There were many girls standing by the street, using all kinds of ways to seduce the customers. A few women kept throwing flirtatious glances at Li Fan. Tian hurriedly stretched out her hand to block Li Fan's view. Brother Li, don't look at them. They are all bad women. Li Fan finally understood. The women here would eat people, and what it meant. They really knew how to eat people, and they would eat people until not even bones were left. Little brother, come and play. It's fun. A beautiful woman crooked her finger at Li Fan. Her intention to tease him was very obvious. Brother Li, don't listen to them. Alright, don't look, don't listen. Then how am I supposed to walk? Li Fan didn't know whether to laugh or cry. Only then did Yin Tiantian let go of her hand and said with some dissatisfaction, "This place is simply a den of devils." Yin Tiantian didn't seem to like this place very much, but Li Fan couldn't take care of her preferences. Right now, he had to quickly meet the Phoenix King. Where should I find the Phoenix King? Li Fan stole a glance at the girls. Their outfits were too provocative. There were all kinds of styles. There were ancient costumes and Japanese cosplay costumes. This place was a man's paradise. The Phoenix King was indeed awesome. He actually managed to create such a huge pink industry in the Yellow Springs. Was he the king of intelligence or the king of lust? If you want to see the Phoenix King, you must give him a gift. Yin Tiantian said as she took out a golden leaf from her bosom. This is a greeting gift. With that, Yin Tiantian endured her disgust and called a beautiful woman with a fox tail on her but in front of her. If it's a girl, you have to pay more. The fox-tailed beauty said in a sweet voice. We want to see the Phoenix King. Yin Tiantian ignored her words and placed the golden leaf in her palm. The fox-tailed beauty's expression turned cold as she sized up Yin Tiantian. Wait a moment. The fox-tailed beauty twisted her butt and returned to the brothel at the back. Li Fan stood on the street, looking left and right. There were all kinds of beauties around him. None of them looked bad. Outside, any one of them would be a well-known figure in the brothel. From this, it could be seen that the consumption level of this place was definitely not low. The Yellow Springs is heaven for the rich and hell for the poor. Yin Tiantian seemed to have guessed Li Fan's thoughts and said in his ear, Brother Li, don't come to this kind of place on normal days. Don't worry, I'm a person with perseverance and integrity. Li Fan said solemnly. And then, Tiantian believes in Brother Li, Yin Tiantian's current state. Although Li Fan was a bit unable to accept it, it was better than Yin Tiantian who hated him. Little brother, do you want to play? A woman dressed like a catgirl was holding a banana in her hand. She slowly peeled it in front of Li Fan and then put it in her mouth and licked it with her tongue. Li Fan felt a little reaction in his body. This kind of scene, it's hard for people not to have a reaction. He's the guest of the Phoenix King. It was the voice of the fox-tailed beauty from before. Her words made the catgirl lose interest, and she obediently turned around and went back. A luxuriously decorated carriage trotted over and stopped beside them. Come on up. The fox-tailed beauty opened the door of the carriage and invited Li Fan and Yin Tiantian. Okay. We'll just ride in the carriage for the rest of the journey. Li Fan was somewhat helpless, but he still got on the carriage. The carriage was very spacious. Li Fan and Yin Tiantian sitting inside would not be crowded, not to mention that the fox-tailed beauty also sat on the carriage. Li Fan looked at her and could not help but ask. Can I ask you a question? What? The fox-tailed beauty was trimming her nails. Regarding beauty, women are always very persistent. Especially for women in this line of work, although they earn a lot of their expenses are used to make themselves more beautiful. Don't you feel uncomfortable with something stuffed in your back? Li Fan could not help but finally asked. Oh, it's okay. The fox-tailed beauty said casually, I'm used to it. If I don't stuff it now, it'll be a bit uncomfortable. This answer was amazing. At least, Li Fan could not refute it. So dirty. Yin Tiantian could not help but mutter. Hee, this beauty, it's hard to say if it's dirty or not, but we're earning our hard-earned money. The fox-tailed beauty did not mind. Everyone needs to survive, so why laugh at each other? Yin Tiantian did not say anything and turned her head away from her. How long until we reach the Phoenix King? Li Fan asked. Believe me, I'm tired of sitting in the carriage. Not long. The fox-tailed beauty said, we can be happy for a while. If you stay long enough, we can be happy until the end of the journey. However, if you don't stay long enough, it doesn't matter, we can be happy for a few more times. The fox-tailed beauty winked at Li Fan. Chapter 494. Li Fan thought about it and finally decided to reject the fox-tailed beauty's suggestion. After all, he swore in his heart that his first time can only be given to the girl he likes. Although this fox-tailed beauty looks pretty good. But considering her occupation, he decided to forget about it. My brother Li has a firm will, he won't be confused by you. Yin Tian subconsciously touched a flying knife, and Li Fan hurriedly pulled her little hand. An ordinary brothel girl is not worth using throwing knives to deal with. I'll just sit quietly for a while. Li Fan closed his eyes and felt the change of the qi in his body. This Yellow Springs is indeed a wonderful place. A huge pink organization. It can be considered the biggest pink industry that Li Fan has ever seen. Moreover, everything here is legal. No police will come to investigate them. Phoenix King is indeed omnipotent to be able to create this kind of place. To be able to spend money in this place is definitely not something an ordinary martial artist can afford. Is this your first time meeting Phoenix King? The fox-tailed beauty looked at Li Fan curiously. Don't be too nervous. Phoenix King is actually very easy to talk to. After all, he is a businessman. I hope so. Li Fan slowly opened his eyes. It's just that I didn't expect Phoenix King to have other industries other than the intelligence business. Are you talking about us? The fox-tailed beauty pointed at her chest. Then you are very wrong. What do you mean? Because Phoenix King's industry is not just us. The fox-tailed beauty smiled. Phoenix King owns the entire Yellow Springs. This place can be said to be the heaven for the rich. Li Fan was stunned for a moment. That means Phoenix King's industry should be very huge. Phoenix King is the underground king here. Yin Tian explained to Li Fan, I heard that there is a gambling city here. I really want to go take a look. I won't go to the brothel and you won't go to the gambling city. We have a deal, how about it? Li Fan quickly pulled Yin Tian. This girl is actually interested in the gambling city. Not only the gambling city, there are many other fun places. The fox-tailed beauty winked at them. I can be your guide as long as I pay. You're willing to be a guide? Li Fan was a bit surprised. Walking a few steps is better than being poked in the ass, right? Aren't you used to it? I'm used to it, but it doesn't mean the model won't change. The fox-tailed beauty covered her mouth and chuckled, while Li Fan's face was slightly red. Yin Tian was fine. She couldn't understand the conversation between these two people. We are almost there. The fox-tailed beauty gently pushed open the window and looked outside. We's Phoenix King. This Phoenix King really knows how to name. Li Fan looked out. In front of him was a bridge, which was connected to a huge Chinese-style palace. King. This guy, living in this kind of palace, did he think he was an underground emperor? It was hard to say. With such a huge underground business, no one would deny that he was the emperor here. That was hard to say. With such a huge underground industry, no one would deny that he was the emperor. They were clad in golden red armor, and each of them had a long blade hanging from their waists. This Phoenix King's guards are all martial artists. He's really traditional. Just as Li Fan finished speaking, he saw some bodyguards in black suits in the city. Each of them brazenly held a Remington shotgun. Violence and safety coexisted. This Phoenix King. What kind of person is he? Li Fan did not dare to imagine. The carriage was unimpeded. It entered the courtyard and finally stopped in front of the hall. The fox-tailed beauty led Li Fan and Yin Tian to an elevator. However, the fox-tailed beauty reminded them, only one person can enter. Which one of you wants to see the Phoenix King? Li Fan took a step forward. Yin Tian tactfully took a step back. Brother Li, I'll wait for you here. Li Fan looked at the two tower-like bodyguards standing on both sides. The two of them also glanced at Li Fan before holding their shotguns and looking forward like door gods. Li Fan stepped into the elevator. The fox-tailed beauty could only send him here. 12 floors. The fox-tailed beauty reminded him. Got it. Thank you for your help. Li Fan said goodbye to the two of them and watched the elevator door slowly close. The elevator trembled but did not rise. Instead, it chose to descend. Damn, descending again? This guy wants to go all the way to the 18th level of hell. Li Fan could not help but ridicule. The elevator descended to a certain level and finally stopped. The elevator door slowly opened. In front of Li Fan was a beautiful underwater world. The surrounding walls were made of transparent glass. Outside the glass, there were many bright lights, which illuminated the water in a myriad of colors. There were many beautiful fishes swimming around in groups. It was a beautiful sight. It seemed that this place should be under some water. Perhaps it was the sea. A long crystal corridor led to a huge desk in front. A somewhat fat man was sitting behind the office desk, smoking a very expensive-looking tobacco pipe in his hand. Are you surprised? This fat man seemed to be Phoenix King. He really could not see any similarity between him and an underground emperor. This man did not even have a guard. He met Li Fan alone. He took a puff from his tobacco pipe and continued, "People who come here for the first time will be surprised. But this is human, there is nothing that cannot be done." Are you Phoenix King? That's right, the world's #1 intelligence king. The fat man nodded. Oh, I know what you're thinking. But believe me, being fat has nothing to do with ability. This Phoenix King. Li Fan felt that his eyes seemed to have some kind of magic power. He could even see through him. Everyone who comes here has something to ask of me. The Phoenix King tapped his smoking pipe. Money, women, happiness. Of course, there is also intelligence. Tell me, what is it that you want? He used his tobacco pipe to tap the golden leaf beside him. Phoenix King will grant all your requests. I want to know the whereabouts of Guan Wenbao and Yen Kai. Oh, the descendant of the Guan family and that abandoned disciple of Wudong? Phoenix King nodded. To be honest, I am still very optimistic about your escort agency. Do you still accept investments? I am not interested at the moment. Li Fan felt that he had no secrets in front of this Phoenix King. All right then, it is not difficult to know their information. Phoenix King seemed to be talking about something very casual, but everything that you know from me comes with a price. Chapter 495. I'm prepared. Li Fan immediately takes out that beautiful southern pearl, opens the box and shows it to Phoenix King. The moment the box was opened, a round white light almost illuminated the large underwater room. Even Phoenix King's eyes brighten up. Alliance Master Murong sure is generous. She even took out her treasured southern pearl. Phoenix King immediately recognizes that this is Murong Ying's item. Although this item is good, I do not lack money. Phoenix King's words cause Li Fan to be shocked. You want to use this pearl to exchange for my information? That's not enough. Li Fan does not know what Phoenix King wants. Furthermore, as the little tyrant, isn't it a little boring for you to use your wife's item to exchange for your brother's safety? Phoenix King's words have indeed stabbed Li Fan's spine, but it also caused Li Fan to be a little confused. If you don't want the luminous pearl, then what do you want? Of course it's something that only little tyrant has. Phoenix King chuckles before waving at Li Fan. Come here. Li Fan is not afraid. He immediately walks forward and stands in front of Phoenix King's desk. Let me bring you to a place first. As Phoenix King speaks, he presses the switch on the desk. The ground beneath their feet suddenly trembles. Following that, the area around the desk rises up and slowly rises above their heads. The ceiling above their heads also opens up, allowing this area to enter. Are you guys following the Rubik's Cube building? Li Fan is slightly speechless. You've seen my figure. Phoenix King patted his belly. I am also too lazy to walk these few steps. Damn, this is too lazy. Li Fan is powerless to retort. He only glances at Phoenix King's bulging belly. Fine, no one would doubt him if he says he is pregnant for 10 months. If a man does not have a bit of magnanimity, how can he do great things? Phoenix King patted his belly while smoking his tobacco pipe. When you have a belly, you will naturally understand. It's better if I don't understand. Li Fan shook his head repeatedly. This big belly, what was the use of it? It was very inconvenient for him to fight. Men, when they reach a certain age, that's where their big bellies come from. The Phoenix King patted Li Fan's shoulder. I think highly of you. Fuck this guy, he has a big belly but he still wants others to have a big belly? He was really crazy. But no matter how crazy this person was, Li Fan had to accompany him first. For the safety of his two brothers, it was nothing for him to compromise a little. Light gradually appeared above their heads, and there was an earth-shattering noise. Li Fan blocked the blinding light and rose to the top. There was a large audience outside, surrounding a stage that wasn't very big. The stage was surrounded by barbed wire, and there were two strong men locked inside, fighting back and forth. Rather than a fight, it was more like a slaughter. This is the underground arena? Li Fan could see that this place was definitely a place for a fight. He and the Phoenix King rose to a VIP hall. High up, they looked down at the arena. The arena was not big. Other than the barbed wire, there were also deep pits all around, as if falling in would turn one into minced meat. The two strong men fought for a long time, neither giving in to the other, and their attacks were very ruthless. Li Fan watched from above for a long time, watching one of the men break the other's neck and throw it into the abyss. The surrounding audience roared excitedly, wave after wave, one louder than the other. Li Fan, this is an arena under my name. The Phoenix King introduced, other than people who want to earn money, there are also some extremely vicious death row criminals in the world who compete here. Only by continuously fighting here will they be able to survive. And then there are no powerful contestants recently. You also saw that me, the audience, all like to watch bloody scenes. If it wasn't exciting enough, they wouldn't be willing to buy it. And then, Li Fan seemed to have guessed it. As the little tyrant, the audience must be looking forward to it. Li Fan, go down and help me fight 3 matches. As long as you win all 3 matches, I will tell you the whereabouts of your 2 brothers. All right, it's a deal. Li Fan immediately agreed. Fighting was something he was good at. Furthermore, he did not need to use Murong Ying's baby. This was the best. It was good to owe one less favor to Murong Ying. Just 3 matches. I, the Phoenix King, will fulfill all your requests. I am a man of my word. The Phoenix King promised, as long as you can win and come back alive. All right, it's a deal. Li Fan became spirited. The two of them had agreed on a deal. Li Fan was led out of the VIP room. Seemingly because of the preparation, he was brought into a resting room. The Phoenix King was quite kind to him. He was the only one in the resting room, which was very comfortable. Furthermore, he was lying on the bed, and there were 2 beautiful masseuses giving Li Fan a massage. The big screen in front of him was still showing the battle between the 2 contestants. A beautiful attendant walked over from the side. She was pushing a dining cart with all kinds of exquisite dishes on it. Mr. Li, do you want to eat anything before the match? She asked. No need. Li Fan did not have much appetite right now. He asked, I have a friend waiting outside. Can you help me call her in? Are you talking about Miss Yin? The beautiful attendant smiled. The Phoenix King has already arranged for her to rest in another resting room. Because this is the contestant's resting room, unrelated people are not allowed to enter. Oh, all right then. As long as she has a place to rest. Li Fan was worried that if Yin Tian waited for too long, she would be anxious. Since Mr. Li does not want to eat, you can choose your clothes later. The beautiful attendant pointed at the big screen. A set of clothes appeared on it for Li Fan to choose from. Li Fan saw a bare-chested man wearing only a pair of loose pants on his lower body. However, that person's back was tattooed with a colorful tattoo. It was a malevolent divine dragon. Can I choose this one? Li Fan asked. Of course. The beautiful attendant nodded her head. What kind of tattoo does Mr. Li need? Our tattoo artist here is very professional and can help you make it on the spot. Is there one that can't be seen normally and will only appear during a battle? Li Fan did not want to be too high profile on normal days, so he tried to ask. Yes, what you need is a pigeon blood tattoo. We can do it. The beautiful attendant pulled out a bunch of tattoo styles from the screen. Which one do you need? Before the match, we can help you to tattoo it for free. With a glance, Li Fan took a fancy to a tattoo style. On it was a strong man crouching over a tiger. Chapter 496. The tattooing process was long and painful, but Li Fan was able to endure it. In the end, he even fell asleep. When he was woken up, the tattooing on his back was already completed. Tyrant Xiang Yu, tiger subduing with one hand. His entire back and legs were covered with this beautiful tattoo. On Li Fan's shoulder, there was a tattoo of the word tyrant. This was very suitable for his title of tyrant. How long have I been asleep? Li Fan looked at the two mirrors and admired his tattoo. The tattoo was slowly fading and soon, it disappeared from Li Fan's back. From the outside, it looked like Li Fan had never had a tattoo before. About 10 hours. The beautiful attendant said, "Your match is about to begin." Li Fan stood up and stretched his muscles and bones. He had to do what he had agreed with the Phoenix King. "Please enter the arena from here." The beautiful attendant led Li Fan into the passage and said, "I wish you good luck." "Thank you." Li Fan put on a scarlet cloak, walked out of the lounge through the passage and went outside. The surrounding audience was filled with excited people. When they saw Li Fan, they did not seem to be very enthusiastic. After all, Li Fan was still a newcomer to them. In particular, Li Fan looked very young, just like a student, which made them lose interest. A man walked over from the opposite side. He was tall, and his muscles were as firm as rocks. He looked very shocking. A colorful tiger was tattooed on his chest. It was eager as if it was about to pounce out. "Our new friend's luck is not too good today." The host's voice echoed in the arena. "He met our tiger killer, Steven. This is a famous genetic warrior. He has been injected with the angel gene and has extraordinary strength." "Angel gene? Is there any connection between this and the virus X that Sam asked me to transport?" From the sound of it, it sounded like something that could strengthen the human body. There is no doubt that humans have great potential. Huaxia used martial arts to stimulate people's potential, cultivating both internal and external cultivation to break through the limits of human beings. Foreigners seem to like using genetic engineering to improve human abilities. Needless to say, their method was somewhat successful. This guy was very strong. The muscles on his body emitted a bronze luster, which was very eye-catching. With such perfect muscles, it was impossible not to notice. "Brat, today you will die in the hands of a fierce tiger." The man shouted at Li Fan in broken Chinese. "Give it a try." Li Fan jumped into the cage-like arena from above, and the surrounding people booed at him. However, Li Fan's expression was very indifferent. When he first arrived on Su Chen's ship, he was also ridiculed like this. At that time, he was still very hot-blooded, but at this moment, Li Fan was much calmer. Because he knew that now was not the time to be hot-blooded. He had to quickly defeat the 3 opponents and find information about his 2 brothers. That was the most important thing. "Can you hear the cheers around you?" Steven laughed. "It's all for me. And what belongs to you will only be ridicule." "Cut the crap. Bring it on." Li Fan took off the cloak on his body, revealing a slender body that was not very fit. The muscles on his body were not exaggerated, nor were they protruding, but every part of his body was perfect. Under his well-balanced muscles, there was a terrifying power hidden. This was Li Fan, a martial artist. "Go to hell, Brett." As Steven spoke, a palm the size of a cattail Li Fan grabbed at Li Fan. However, Li Fan did not dodge. Instead, he leaned forward and grabbed Steven's arm. Then, with a beautiful shoulder throw, Steven's huge body was forcibly dragged to the arena floor. Bang! Steven spat out a mouthful of bitter saliva. It was obvious that the fall was not light. How is this possible? Steven was also thick-skinned. Although he was thrown, he quickly got up. He stood up again and looked at Li Fan condescendingly. This arena was different from Su Chen's ship. The area was very small, only less than 30 square meters. The space for 2 people to coexist was very small, which forced them to fight constantly. When Li Fan threw Steven to the ground, it caused the surrounding audience to exclaim. They could not imagine that there was such a huge power hidden in this small man's body. "The floor must have been too slippery just now, and I accidentally slipped." Steven muttered, "You little fly, I'm going to pinch you to death now." As he spoke, he reached out to grab Li Fan again. However, Li Fan used the same trick and once again smashed Steven's huge body to the ground. The surrounding audience was stunned for a moment, then they began to whisper to each other. This kid who looked thin and weak didn't seem to be that weak. This strong and sturdy tiger killer was actually being played around by a small man. Although Li Fan was not considered short, compared to this tiger killer, Steven, he was indeed a small man. I want to win 3 rounds, so I'm sorry. As Li Fan spoke, he directly grabbed the strong Steven and threw him out. Clang. Steven's body smashed into the iron net next to him and he directly fainted. Not exciting enough, Phoenix King. Li Fan stood in the arena, stretched out a finger, and said loudly, "Give me something more exciting. Satisfy him." Phoenix King sat in his VIP room with a pipe in his mouth and said with a smile. Soon, a 3-meter-tall brown bear was sent into the arena. Li Fan blinked his eyes. Damn, it really is a brown bear. Phoenix King, you're really ruthless. Li Fan really couldn't help but want to spit it out. However, looking at the brown bear in front of him that had been hungry for a day, Li Fan's desire to fight was aroused. Roar! The host's shout, the audience's noise, and the brown bear's roar mixed together, impacting Li Fan's eardrums. This brown bear completely stood up. It was already more than 3 meters, close to 4 meters. Such a big guy. Li Fan felt that it was a little too big. The brown bear swung its paw at Li Fan, bringing with it the whistling sound of the wind. Li Fan did not want to face the power of a brown bear head-on. However, Li Fan is Li Fan. He has the gene to not admit defeat. Li Fan roared, and his body began to swell. Bear. Army. Almost in an instant, Li Fan's body grew to 2 meters tall, his muscles bulged, and the overlord subduing the tiger painting appeared behind him. Come, young master, I'll play with you. Chapter 497. How strong was the strength of a bear? They could easily tear apart a human's body. And the angry slap of the brown bear in front of him was enough to turn a person into minced meat. However, Li Fan also swung his palm. A black bear slapped the door, meeting the palm of the brown bear. Bang! The brown bear and Li Fan each took a step back, and a wave of energy blasted them away. Li Fan had defeated a huge King Kong in the past. Now, defeating a hungry brown bear was nothing. Li Fan and the brown bear clashed head-on and fought crazily. The surrounding audience was dumbfounded. This was a living person. At this moment, he was actually fighting with a huge brown bear? Li Fan did not use too much true energy. He only relied on his powerful physical strength to fight the brown bear. Li Fan needed to break through his external strength. He relied on the bear cavalry's martial arts to fight with the brown bear for a long time. Whether it was his palm or his beating, he could not seriously injure the brown bear. The other party's skin was rough and thick, so he did not care about his attacks at all. It was like 2 wild bears fighting. In the end, both of them would be injured. Wait, Li Fan felt like he understood something. The 2 bears were fighting, but he was a human. 7 Heroes Fist. What was the limit of the 7 Heroes Fist? The limit of the 7 Heroes Fist was that he had always limited his thoughts to animals. Beyond the thoughts of animals, he had to comprehend the abilities of humans. Imitation only made him become like an animal. As for humans, humans had a way to defeat animals. Overlord subduing the tiger. That was the feeling. Transcend the 7 Heroes Fist and become a true emperor among men. The brown bear had already pounced in front of Li Fan, as if it wanted to tear Li Fan to pieces. Li Fan grabbed the brown bear's head with one hand, lifted it up, and pulled it behind him. Li Fan's arm suddenly swelled and was about 3 times thicker than usual. The brown bear seemed to have sensed some kind of danger. It wanted to roar and roar, but its face was pinched tightly as if it was clamped by iron pincers. It couldn't make any sound. 7 Brilliance Fist. Li Fan's eyes lit up. Subdue, bear. Li Fan's arm grabbed the brown bear and slammed it onto the floor in front of him. Boom! A huge pit was smashed on the floor, and brown bear's body was embedded in it. He had already fainted. Not exciting enough. Li Fan's blood was boiling, and the overlord subduing the tiger painting behind him was getting clearer and clearer. Good, very good. The Phoenix King nodded in satisfaction. Send the third opponent to him. Boom. The arena's floor began its own renovation and was soon replaced with a new layer. Another man was sent in, but this man looked very familiar to Li Fan. He was wearing a silver-white armor with the Storm logo on it. Not bad, we meet again. Warhammer moved his armor a bit and then looked at Li Fan with a smile. I really didn't expect to meet in this place. I thought it would be a more romantic place. Li Fan suddenly didn't know what to say. He actually met his mortal enemy in the Yellow Springs. It was really unexpected. It seems that your strength has improved again. But it's also good. My armor has received some new training. Warhammer was a chatterbox. Li Fan had already seen it. Alright. I know you like to talk. Li Fan was a bit fed up with this Warhammer. If you want to fight, hurry up and fight. I still have other things to deal with. It's not easy to reunite. Don't you want to chat more? Warhammer took out a small syringe filled with some kind of silver liquid. This thing is called Angel. It is a kind of genetic medicine that is currently circulating in the black market. He said to Li Fan. These are just some defective products. High-level Angel is said to be able to awaken the true genetic potential of humans. You rely on these to strengthen yourself. Li Fan couldn't help but laugh. If you have the ability, then take off your clothes and fight. I don't have your ability. Warhammer shrugged. My armor is my protection. You've seen Iron Man, right? When did Iron Man ever fight with his shirt off? Come on, that's how Iron Man fights. Only the Hulk fights with his bare arms. Are you done? Li Fan asked while digging his ears. My ears have grown calluses. I like to drink a glass of whiskey before fighting. Warhammer looked at the surrounding iron mesh cage. It seems that I can't drink here for the time being. What a pity. If you don't want to fight, you can admit defeat. Of course, I want to fight. Warhammer said hurriedly, I'm here to make some extra money. Oh, by the way, some bosses bet a lot of money on me. Why don't you just admit defeat and I'll ask them to give you a sum of money too? Then I'm sorry. Li Fan clenched his fists. What I need now is not money. You made the wrong choice. Warhammer sighed. It seems that I can only take your life in advance. With that, his helmet covered his cheeks. Then, his body suddenly sprang forward. A chainsaw popped out from his wrist and stabbed toward Li Fan. The Warhammer's speed was extremely fast, almost as if it was a jet. Li Fan stood there, unmoved. At this time, Warhammer was like a tiger pouncing on its prey. Li Fan remembered Luo Xiaofeng's words. Everyone has a weakness. All things are like this. The moment Warhammer launched his attack, he revealed his weakness. Li Fan was not in a hurry to attack. He was not precise enough. Thus he chose to dodge. Zilala. Warhammer's chainsaw cut through the barbed wire beside him, creating a large hole in the barbed wire. Little friend, do you want to play hide and seek? Warhammer laughed and fired 2 arrows at the barbed wire. These arrows seemed to have electrodes, directly connecting the iron mesh to some kind of high-voltage electricity. The cage is very small. It seems that it is not suitable for hide and seek. Warhammer smiled and then pounced toward Li Fan. The chainsaw aimed at Li Fan's head. However, Li Fan did not move. He waited for Warhammer to arrive in front of him. 7 Brilliance Fist. Beating Tiger. The moment his opponent's attack fell on him, Li Fan slightly lowered his body and used the fastest method to punch. Li Fan's fist landed on Warhammer's defenseless body. Bang! Warhammer's body flew out and slammed into the electrified iron mesh behind him. The electric shock caused him to scream and he fell down. If Warhammer did not bounce back to the ring in time, he would have been electrocuted into charcoal. Li Fan shrugged his shoulders. You're right. This place is very small. Chapter 498. Warhammer readjusted his state and the armor on his body spurted out some energy. Then, he slowly stood up and re-examined Li Fan in front of him. Mysterious Eastern Kung Fu. Warhammer looked at Li Fan and analyzed Li Fan's battle power on the display screen. However, Li Fan's battle power was only 50. This was the battle power that a normal person should have after training their body. His battle power was 350, and the armor and the angel greatly enhanced his ability. How could Li Fan only have 50 battle power? That ancient Chinese true qi did not seem to be within the system's analysis data. This kind of battle analysis thing was really unreliable. Warhammer readjusted his state and then stretched out his right hand. An air cannon burst out from the palm of his hand. This was his only means of weapon attack. Before entering the stage, because firearms were not allowed, the weapon system on his body had been temporarily removed. However, even this air cannon's power was very amazing. Li Fan sensed danger. The moment the air began to distort, he pulled away and circled behind Warhammer with a black afterimage. Bang! Warhammer's air cannon tore apart a large piece of barbed wire behind him. Warhammer quickly turned around and aimed the air cannon at Li Fan, who was in front of him. Bang! Warhammer's firing speed was very fast and he almost did not need any reserves. The system on his wrist could quickly compress air and then form an artillery shell. Li Fan's body was torn apart by this air cannon. Warhammer was overjoyed but soon felt that something was wrong, because Li Fan's hand was already on his waist from behind. 7 Brilliance Fist. Playtip. Li Fan used his unique footwork to create a realistic afterimage in front of Warhammer. The moment Warhammer thought that he had crushed Li Fan had already made a move behind him. Wild Bear Embracing Tree. Li Fan hugged Warhammer's body by the waist. At the same time, he leaned back and performed a beautiful back throw, smashing Warhammer's body into the ground. Before Warhammer could react, Li Fan had already turned around and lifted Warhammer's steel body into the air. Bear King raises the cauldron. Li Fan bent his knees, raised his Warhammer and jumped up. Then he pressed down on the body of the Warhammer with both hands. With the force of his fall, he smashed him into the ground once again. Bang! Another large crater was formed in the ground, and Warhammer was seeing stars. He felt his vision darken, and his whole body was in pain. The system's voice echoed in his ears. Damage level, 60%. Thrusters lost contact. In just 2 moves, more than half of his armor had been destroyed. Warhammer was dumbfounded. How was he supposed to play? They weren't even on the same level. If he wanted to deal with Li Fan, he could only get a stronger armor or use a higher-grade angel potion. Most importantly, this place wasn't suitable for hunting. In such a narrow space, it was as if he was the prey. I surrender. Warhammer directly announced his surrender. According to the rules of the arena, the one who announced his surrender would receive unconditional protection, and the other contestant was not allowed to attack. Li Fan, the next time we meet, I will hunt you down. Warhammer dragged his damaged armor and walked out of the cage. Before leaving, he didn't forget to leave some harsh words for Li Fan. Before I hunt you, don't get caught by others. Wait. Li Fan still had a big doubt in his heart. Who is the spy you guys sent to my side? Who knows? Warhammer laughed. You have never been safe. With that, Warhammer turned around and left the arena, leaving Li Fan alone to ponder. This damned storm mercenaries, they are really patient. Who is the spy hiding beside me? These matters gave Li Fan a headache, but now that the 3 matches were over and he fulfilled his promise, the rest was up to Phoenix King. Li Fan returned to his original size, and the Overlord's subduing tiger painting on his back slowly disappeared. But when he left, the audience was cheering excitedly, chanting his name in unison. After 3 matches, Li Fan had left his name here. You fought really well. Phoenix King sat in front of his desk and looked at Li Fan with a smile. If you are interested in the future, you can come here to fight a few more matches. My arena's door will always be open for you. I am not interested, you just need to give me the information. Li Fan didn't want to come to this place to fight, he had more important things to do. I have fulfilled my promise, now it's your turn, Phoenix King. Don't worry, Phoenix King will grant your request. The Phoenix King laughed. Since we've agreed on it, I'll naturally do it. With that, he clapped his hands, and a map appeared on the big screen behind him. Speaking of your 2 brothers, there is actually nothing wrong. They are currently on the Luoma Ancient Road, staying in a small inn called Tai. Why are they staying there? Li Fan was surprised. This is another piece of information. If you want to know, I will have to pay extra. Damn, you unscrupulous merchant. All merchants are unscrupulous. Phoenix King didn't deny it. You fought well today, I am very satisfied, and you have earned quite a bit of money. In the future, the gates of Yellow Springs will always be open for you. Li Fan felt that he couldn't be happy. This is for you. Phoenix King passed a jade pendant with a phoenix imprinted on it to Li Fan. What is this? This is my keepsake, and also the pass to Yellow Springs. Phoenix King seemed to have a good impression of Li Fan. In the future, if you want to enter Yellow Springs, use this. Our agreement ends here. Go and see your friend. Phoenix King sent the map to Li Fan's phone, and then chased Li Fan out of his office. This was not important. Li Fan put on his clothes and hurriedly went to find Een Tian Tian. This little girl who accompanied him to Yellow Springs was currently sleeping soundly in the resting room. When she was woken up by Li Fan, she sleepily sat up. Brother Li, you're back. Sorry for disturbing your sleep. Li Fan himself had slept for a while, and Een Tian Tian must have waited for him for a long time before falling asleep. It's okay. Tian Tian was just a little bored, so she fell asleep. Brother Li, did you get the information? Li Fan nodded his head, and then passed the night luminescent pearl to Een Tian Tian. Take this back and tell Murong Ing, I am going to Luoma Ancient Road with the transportation of Yellow Springs. Tian Tian wants to accompany Brother Li. Tian Tian hurriedly said. Sister Murong told me to follow Brother Li. I must be inseparable. Chapter 499. Li Fan and Een Tian Tian were rushing to the Peace Inn on the Luoma Ancient Road. Meanwhile, Guan Wenbao and Yen Kai were sulking in the inn. Old Guan sat in front of the table, wiping his crescent blade over and over again. Are you done yet? Yen Kai finally couldn't hold it in any longer and exploded. You've already scraped 8 pieces of cloth off this knife. Sharpening the blade won't delay the work of cutting firewood. Old Guan was calm. This blade is my second life. I should take good care of it. Take care of my ass. Guan Wenbao snapped. We've lost our darts. What's the point of taking care of a broken blade? The Sima family doesn't lack money. Guan Wenbao calmly analyzed the situation. This is Quan Jin's carp leaping over the dragon gate. Even if they wanted to go, it wouldn't be of much use. I'm afraid that the Sima family wants our heads. The Sima family is powerful. Yen Kai looked out of the window. There were many people walking to and fro on the street. Nothing seemed out of the ordinary. The incident happened a long time ago, yet they've blocked all information. This is not a good thing for the Sima family. Guan Wenbao looked up and saw a figure on the opposite building. That person seemed to be glancing at him. The Sima family won't let this go if we don't take our darts. I really can't explain to Li Fan now. Yen Kai was vexed. If we can't get our darts back, how can we face Li Fan? Let's get through tonight first. Guan Wenbao polished his crescent blade. They'll definitely come tonight. They've come 7 or 8 times this month. Yen Kai couldn't help but sneer. Every time they come, we'll do it. This time, there should be some experts. Guan Wenbao guessed. The Sima family can't wait any longer. This time, we'll catch someone and ask him where he took our darts. Yen Kai was determined. If he couldn't get his darts back, he wouldn't be able to explain to Li Fan. He was even more ashamed to see Li Fan. Well, it's almost dark. Shouldn't you go back to your room to sleep? Guan Wenbao placed his crescent moon blade to the side and glared at Yen Kai. I'll sleep with you. What a joke. Guan Wenbao almost exploded. We don't have much money left. How can we afford 2 rooms? Yen Kai explained in a serious manner, but Guan Wenbao felt that it was particularly awkward. No, I'd rather sleep in the stable. Cold sweat broke out on Guan Wenbao's back. Rather than sleeping in the same room with Yen Kai, he might as well stab him. Even the circle of tombs was more peaceful than sleeping by Yen Kai's side. You're hurting our brotherhood. Yen Kai was silent for a moment, then said, Sleeping by your side doesn't hurt my feelings, but it hurts my chrysanthemum. Guan Wenbao picked up his crescent blade and was about to walk out the door. But at this moment, the lights in the inn suddenly went out. It was already night time, and now it was pitch black. Only the moonlight shone in from the window. Look, the lights are out. Let's rest early. Yan Kai smiled and Guan Wenbao kicked him. Idiot, they're here. The sound of footsteps came from the surroundings. It was very light, but it still reached their ears. Guan Wenbao picked up his crescent blade, and Yan Kai also pulled out the sword at his waist. The two of them stood back to back, waiting for the enemy to come. Soon, arrows suddenly shot in from the window, shooting at the two of them. Dang, dang, dang. Guan Wenbao waved the crescent blade in his hand and flicked the arrows away. A few black-clothed men broke in from the door, holding long blades in their hands, and slashed at the two of them. You're disturbing our world. Yan Kai let go of the sword in his hand and threw it away. But the sword carried the power of yin and yang. It actually sucked the long blades in the hands of the black-clothed men and stuck them on the sword. With this move, everyone's weapons were removed, except for Guan Wenbao's. The black-clothed men did not hesitate and attacked Yan Kai with their bare hands. But what Yan Kai was best at was one against many. His Tai Chi power could be used to its greatest effect at this time. When the black-clothed men's fists and kicks landed on Yan Kai's body, he transferred the power of these people to their companions. The more people hit Yan Kai, the braver he became. The two of them cooperated and knocked down all the black-clothed men. No matter how many black-clothed men there were, they were unable to hurt the two of them. A bunch of trash. A man walked in from outside the door. This man was called Sima Tian, a member of the Sima family. His martial arts were not bad, and he was extremely ambitious. He wanted to take down Guan Wenbao and Yan Kai and report back to his family. These two people were the capital for him to make a contribution in the Sima family. Sima Tian looked at the two people in front of him and only treated them as his bounty. It's been so many days and you can't even deal with two trash. You even want me to personally take action. As Sima Tian spoke, he pulled out a short sword from his back. The Sima family was unique. They were good at using a short sword. Together with their unique monarch palm technique and 9 swords of bliss, they were truly powerful. Be careful, this person is an expert. Guan Wenbao reminded Yan Kai. Don't worry, it's just people from the Sima family. This Tao doesn't put them in my eyes. As Yan Kai spoke, he pointed at Sima Tian. What are you hesitating for? Come and play. Courting death. How arrogant was Sima Tian? How could he sit and wait for Yan Kai's ridicule? This person leaped and his entire body was like a shadow in the night. In an instant, he crossed a distance and appeared in front of Yan Kai. At the same time, the short sword pierced towards Yan Kai's neck. No matter how profound Yan Kai's Taiji art was, if his neck was stabbed, he would still die obediently. However, a crescent moon blade came from behind and collided with Sima Tian's short blade, causing Sima Tian's short blade to be deflected. At the same time, Yan Kai's palm had already landed on Sima Tian's lower abdomen, sending Sima Tian flying. Sima Tian's body slid a distance in the air and slowly landed on the ground. You have some ability, Sima Tian said. However, the game ends here. He was very confident. He was a member of the Sima family. Wouldn't dealing with 2 juniors of the pugilistic world be a piece of cake? Sima Tian gripped the short sword tightly and entered a battle stance. Once again, he shot towards the two of them. These 2 people would definitely die under his sword today. Sima Tian's 9 swords of bliss was as fast as a shadow, heading straight for the space between Yan Kai's eyebrows. In the blink of an eye, Sima Tian had already arrived in front of Yan Kai. Guan Wenbao chased after him with his blade but was sent flying by Sima Tian's monarch palm. As for the short sword, Yan Kai placed his palm on the sword and pulled it to the side, causing Sima Tian's short sword to stab into the wall at the side. Total annihilation. Guan Wenbao's crescent moon blade had already swept over. Chapter 500. Sima Tian turned pale with fright. His waist twisted extremely, wanting to dodge the saber. But what kind of person was Guan Wenbao? How could his saber be so easy to dodge? Although Sima Tian's movement technique was not bad, his waist was still grazed by this saber. Pfft. Dark red blood burst out from Sima Tian's waist. He cried out miserably, clutching his waist, and looked at Guan Wenbao and Yan Kai opposite him with uncontrollable rage. You, the two of you actually dare to injure me. My skills are inferior, so what if I injure you? Guan Wenbao curled his lips, clearly very disdainful towards this Sima Tian. Guan Wenbao had always worshipped the strong, like Li Fan. But for people like Sima Tian who only relied on their wealth and glib tongues, Guan Wenbao did not fancy them at all. What are you guys still standing there for? Hurry up and attack. Sima Tian let out a scream. His waist was in severe pain, and his anger made him burn. He wholeheartedly wanted to kill these two people, lift their heads, and settle the fire in his heart. Bring it on. When Guan Wenbao wielded the crescent moon blade in his hand, he was like a man holding the pass. 10,000 could not get through. Even if it was a group of black-clothed men in front of him, he was not the slightest bit afraid. This Sima family's brat is so noisy. This grandpa will help you capture him. As he spoke, Yan Kai leaped forward and pounced towards Sima Tian. Stop him. Sima Tian let out a scream, and the surrounding black-clothed men immediately came forward, attempting to stop Yan Kai. Yan Kai did not care about them, and he pounced straight towards Sima Tian. While Guan Wenbao wielded the crescent moon blade and escorted Yan Kai, slapping the surrounding black-clothed men away. Although Yan Kai and Guan Wenbao's personalities were incompatible, when they worked together, there were no flaws. In practically a few moves, the black-clothed men were all swept away, and Yan Kai also grabbed Sima Tian's head. Sima Tian endured the pain and pulled out his short sword, wanting to counterattack, but Yan Kai used the power of Taiji and snatched the short sword away instead. With your skills, you don't need to use a dagger. Yan Kai mocked. It's an insult to your family's 9 swords of bliss. How dare you? Sima Tian roared. What do you dare to do to me? I'm a member of the Sima family. Sima Tian still relied on his identity and roared at Yan Kai and the rest. That's great. Yan Kai grinned. We can use your dog life to exchange for our things. With that, Yan Kai kicked the unconscious man in black next to him to wake him up. Go back and tell your patriarch that if he wants Sima Tian's life, he has to return our Fifan escort agency's escort within 3 days. Otherwise, let people come over and collect Sima Tian's corpse. After detaining Sima Tian, Yan Kai sent these black-clothed men away. You idiots! Sima Tian was tied up and thrown to one side. Guan Wenbao personally looked after him. Sima Tian was still very arrogant. He sat there and said loudly, You guys don't even know how big of a mistake you have made. You rascal, you're really annoying. Yan Kai curled his lips and kicked Sima Tian. If you continue to bullshit, this grandpa will explode your head. Idiot! Don't you know how terrifying the Sima family is? Sima Tian still wanted to say something, but Guan Wenbao swung his hand and used the crescent blade to slap his mouth. Sima Tian was stunned. His face was red and swollen, and he was unable to speak for a long time. It's quite annoying. Shut up. Guan Wenbao muffled out a sentence, and Sima Tian finally stopped speaking. He was probably afraid of pain. Yan Kai wanted to laugh. This Sima Tian, he really had no choice but to hit him. If he knew that he would be more obedient like this, he would have given him a slap earlier. After resting for a while, Guan Wenbao and Yan Kai were a little hungry. As the saying goes, a man is made of iron and rice is made of steel. If they don't eat, they will be starving. Especially for the 2 martial warriors, they also needed a lot of energy. The 2 of them asked the inn's kitchen to make some food and sent it over. I want to eat too. Sima Tian looked at the 2 of them eating heartily and finally could not hold it in anymore. His stomach started to growl. You guys can't mistreat a captive? You're right. Guan Wenbao nodded, then picked up a steamed bun. Go and send it over to him. Why should I send it? Your legs lack training. Guan Wenbao said, It's a good opportunity to exercise. Damn, this grandpa's legs are agile. Yan Kai was very unhappy. It's far from it. The tip of Guan Wenbao's blade rested on Yan Kai's neck. Maybe it's a little slow. Yan Kai picked up the steamed bun and stuffed it into Sima Tian's hands. Is this for humans to eat? Sima Tian was a little agitated. This thing is used to feed pigs at our place. Guan Wenbao, who was eating the steamed bun, paused for a moment. Yan Kai kicked Sima Tian angrily. Fuck you, do you want to eat it or not? If you don't eat it, scram. Yan Kai was too lazy to even give the steamed bun to Sima Tian. He took the steamed bun back and stuffed it into his mouth. Giving it to someone like you to eat is better than feeding it to pigs. Yan Kai ate a few mouthfuls and suddenly felt as if he had scolded himself. Yan Kai could not help but want to curse. He swallowed the steamed bun back into his stomach and turned back to the table. After the two of them ate a few mouthfuls, Guan Wenbao suddenly raised his crescent blade again. Fuck, can't I just eat properly? Yan Kai couldn't control his anger. Did I offend you by eating a meal? Hurry up and put down your blade. I can't put it down. Guan Wenbao said, the guests are all here. Yan Kai immediately walked to the window, pushed it open with his hand, and looked outside. There were no tourists in the vicinity. Standing downstairs were all swordsmen wrapped in black clothes. These were all the guards of the Sima clan. Each and every one of them was glaring like a tiger watching its prey. None of them were easy to deal with. The butler of the Sima clan, Yen San, was also standing there. This fellow also had a malicious look on his face. Standing beside him was a face that Yan Kai was not very familiar with. But looking at Yen San's respectful manner towards him, he should be a member of the Sima clan. That person was wearing a gorgeous brocade, and with a glance, one could tell that it was worth a lot. Moreover, his temperament was also extraordinary, especially this person's ancient attire. He was clearly a modern man, but he had his hair tied up in a bun and even had a black jade hairpin on it. Black jade hairpin. Yan Kai said, "Ha, my sixth uncle is here." Sima Tian laughed loudly. My sixth uncle is here, you guys are dead for sure. King of Hell, Sima Fong, wears a black jade hairpin on his head. Guan Wenbao recited a ballad. This ballad was very popular in the pugilistic world. Ha, my sixth uncle's methods are very powerful. At that time, each of us will send the two of you on your way. It's good for the two of you to have a companion on the road to hell. At least you won't be lonely. Scram. Yan Kai kicked him to the ground. Chapter 501. The King of Hell, Sima Fong, wears a black jade hairpin on his head. This was the sentence that Sima Fong left behind in the Jianghu. His name could be used to stop a child's crying at night. At this moment, the only reason why Sima Fong appeared in this inn was because his nephew was captured. Sima Tian, that idiot, his martial arts were not much, but his ambition was not small. Although Guan Wenbao and Yan Kai were not considered true experts, they were still rising stars in the Jianghu. If Sima Tian wanted to fight against the two of them alone, he was still far from it. If he was so careless, how could he be worthy of being a member of the Sima clan? However, the Sima clan was different from Murong clan. The Sima clan was a united clan. Even if it was a disappointing fellow, he was still a member of the Sima clan and had to be kept alive. The dignity of the Sima clan could not be tarnished. Sima Fong stood downstairs and looked at this inn that could not be considered very big. Every inn on the ancient camel path was equipped with a stable. At this moment, there was only a red horse in the stable. This horse was not ordinary and should belong to that Guan Wenbao. It seemed to feel a trace of uneasiness and kept pacing back and forth in the stable. It was a very intelligent beast because it knew that its master was about to die. Is Sima Tian inside? He asked Yen San, the most loyal dog of the Sima clan. Yes, my lord. Yen San hurriedly said, I have not seen young Master Sima Tian go out. Very good. Sima Fong nodded. I have been here for so long and they still haven't let him go. It seems like they do not intend to let him go. As he spoke, he directly slammed his palm towards the inn above him. Bang! A large piece of the window of the inn was shattered while Guan Wenbao and Yan Kai stood there. One of them was holding a crescent moon blade while the other was holding a great treasure sword. "Where is my nephew?" Sima Fong went straight to the point and asked. "He is staying here as a guest and seems to be quite happy." Yen Kai smiled at Sima Fong. "He is enjoying himself so much that he forgot to go home. I reckon that he will not want to go home for a while." "This is not up to you or him," Sima Fong said coldly. "If you let him go now, I can still let you die a quick death." "Sima Fong, I know you are powerful," Yen Kai said, "but as members of the escort agency, we take people's money and escort goods for them. I can return Sima Tian to you, but you have to return the item." "Hee, you seem to have mistaken something," Sima Fong sneered. "Sima Fong Fong." As he spoke, Sima Fong extended his hand and slapped out with another monarch palm. Yen Kai and Guan Wenbao dodged at the same time. The wall behind them was penetrated by a huge palm print. Yen Kai and Guan Wenbao descended from the sky at the same time, one on the left and one on the right, pouncing towards Sima Fong. The crescent moon saber in Guan Wenbao's hand brought with it a blazing flame, while Yen Kai's longsword contained the power of a black hole. Sima Fong attacked at the same time, trying to suppress Sima Fong. However, Sima Fong did not place them in his eyes at all. He chuckled and with a single palm strike, he repelled the two of them. "You two are good, but you are no match for my monarch palm." Sima Fong was a famous master in Jianghu. He even had a ballad. His level was about the same as the commander of the embroidered uniform guard. Guan Wenbao and Yen Kai were good, but compared to Sima Fong, a senior master, they were still lacking. The two of them were pushed back and landed on the ground, barely managing to stabilize themselves. "Old Guan, the two of us are going to die together today." "Scram. Who wants to die together with you?" Guan Wenbao was unhappy. "I still have to keep my life and work for my benefactor." "Fuck, I don't want to die either, but I'm afraid I can't escape today." "Are you afraid of death?" "No matter what, I have to leave some injuries for him." Guan Wenbao clenched his fong and stared at Sima Fong, as if he was looking for a flaw. "The two of you should lie down." Sima Fong's body appeared beside the two of them without them knowing. He was holding a short sword in his hand, which was stained with blood. Guan Wenbao and Yen Kai's calves had been cut, but they did not see how Sima Fong attacked. 9 swords of bliss, 9 swords of life. Sima Fong chuckled. "The two of you still have 8 swords. Enjoy it." After killing the two of them, he would save Sima Tian. As Sima Fong spoke, his figure flashed. Bloody wounds appeared on Guan Wenbao and Yen Kai's bodies again. This time, Sima Fong's sword stabbed into their abdomens. Luckily, the two of them had good physiques and used their muscles to lock their blood vessels. But if this went on, they would only be waiting for death. The 9 swords of bliss never needed the 10th sword to kill. Furthermore, their true chi protection did not have any defensive effect at all and was easily pierced by Sima Fong. "Create an opportunity for me. This Dao grandpa is going to cut him down." Yen Kai was furious. He held his sword and wanted to stab into Sima Fong's head. But Sima Fong's martial arts were amazing. He could not get close at all. Guan Wenbao also used the Guan family's saber technique to its fullest, as if he wanted to open a path for Yen Kai. However, Sima Fong only held a short sword and easily flicked away Guan Wenbao's crescent blade. "The two of you are too weak. Truly too weak." As Sima Fong spoke, he had already slashed 8 times on Guan Wenbao and Yen Kai's bodies. One more slash and the two's bloodline system would completely collapse. The two of them would die. Just as Sima Fong was about to unleash the last sword, he suddenly took a step back. There were 2 flying daggers nailed to the ground in front of him. Red tassel flying dagger. Looking at the 2 flying daggers, Sima Fong seemed to recall something. The one using these flying daggers seemed to be someone from the Yin family. Sima Fong suddenly felt a threat descending from the sky. He raised his head and saw a man descend from the sky, slapping him with his palm. Courting death. Sima Fong possessed the monarch palm, so how could he be afraid of other people's palm techniques? However, he did not expect that the moment their palms collided, He was actually forced to take a step back and squat on the ground. Sima Fong's chest tightened. He was extremely shocked in his heart. Who's this? Sima Fong widened his eyes, and a youth was standing in front of him. This youth raised a palm and glared at him. If you want to kill my brothers, you have to get past me first. Benefactor, holy shit, Li Fan. Guan Wenbao and Yen Kai almost cried when they saw this youth. The hell, his appearance was too timely. You are Li Fan? Sima Fong looked at the youth in front of him. Little tyrant Li Fan. Isn't he a little too young? I am your grandfather. As Li Fan spoke, he slapped Sima Fong's head. Chapter 502. Sima Fong knew the power of Li Fan's palm, and he would definitely not take it head-on. But he was an expert who had been famous for many years. If he were to be defeated by a junior, where would he put his face? Sima Fong's feet stepped on the ground as if they had grown roots. He raised his palm and collided with Li Fan's palm once again. Ursa Major Seal. Li Fan's palm brought with it a huge force as it clashed with Sima Fong's palm. Bang! The huge impact spread out in all directions, sending the surrounding black-clothed men flying. Especially Yen San, this fellow was sent tumbling a few rounds before he fell to the ground. The two palms touched each other, and their strength continued to clash. Both of them gathered the true qi in their bodies, and both of them were competing with their inner qi, competing with their own true strength. Li Fan's inner qi was robust, but Sima Fong's strength was definitely not weak either. The two of them seemed to be on the same level in terms of inner qi, and their inner qi was not giving way to each other. The one who was anxious was Sima Fong. He was a senior of the pugilistic world, and he was on the same level as a junior. Where would he put his face? Sima Fong was furious. He activated his dantian and squeezed out his true qi bit by bit, sending it into his palm. But no matter what method he used or how much true qi he sent over, Li Fan was like a thick wall that he could not move. Bang! The true qi of the two finally reached a peak, and suddenly exploded, knocking the two of them away. The two of them each took 3 steps back. Sima Fong's face was slightly pale, but Li Fan's expression was as usual. Hades King Sima Fong is only SSO. Li Fan laughed. With a wave of his hand, 2 streams of true qi flew out and hit the bodies of his 2 brothers, stopping their bleeding. Just a brat, but his tone is really big. After saying this, Sima Fong took out his dagger again. 9 swords of extreme bliss. Sima Fong's 9 swords of extreme bliss seemed to be invisible. Before Li Fan could react, a wound had already appeared on his shoulder. Li Fan took a step back and looked at the sword wound on his shoulder. He was very surprised. Even if it was a fast sword, it was impossible for it to escape his sight. What ability did Li Fan have? Bullet time. Any move that was a threat to him would be slowed down in front of him. However, Sima Fong's 9 swords of bliss actually surpassed his bullet time? He didn't see it at all. He didn't sense it at all. 9 blissful swords. That was the first sword. Sima Fong waved the dagger in his hand. You'll have to slowly enjoy the next 8 moves. Bring it on. Li Fan spread his legs apart and stood there, waiting to see the remaining 8 swords. The 9 swords of extreme bliss would cause death when it was in extreme bliss. Do you know the true power of the 9 swords of bliss? You'll know soon enough. As soon as Sima Fong finished speaking, another sword wound appeared on Li Fan's abdomen. Fresh blood gushed out, but Li Fan didn't feel any pain. Instead, he felt a sense of pleasure. This feeling is really weird. Li Fan wondered if he was sick. This was too fucked up. 9 swords of extreme bliss. Could this be the meaning of it? Each sword was faster than the previous one, and each sword was more powerful than the previous one. Every time the sword landed on his body, Li Fan would only feel incomparable happiness, as if he was begging for another sword. Soon, Li Fan's body was stabbed 5 times. Li Fan couldn't see the sword. Secondly, he felt really good. What the fuck? Li Fan knew that he had really underestimated Sima Fong. There was a reason why he could become a famous figure in the martial arts world. Li Fan looked at the 5 sword wounds on his body and laughed bitterly. How is it? You've already felt that endless pleasure, right? Sima Fong pointed the short sword at Li Fan. For more swords and you can ascend to bliss. Li Fan's body trembled slightly. Beg me. Sima Fong laughed and said, beg me and I'll continue to make you happy. Although these words sounded awkward, at this moment, in Li Fan's ears, it was like celestial music. Li Fan restrained his impulse. This sword of extreme bliss seemed to have activated a special acupoint in his body, allowing him to feel endless pleasure while he was bleeding. This move was indeed powerful. He could even turn the tables and beg Su Zimo to be stabbed. Sima Fong was very confident that no one could resist his 9 swords of extreme bliss. No one could resist the temptation of his 9 swords of extreme bliss. Beg me, he said to Li Fan again. Li Fan stood there with his arms crossed in front of him. The true qi in his body rumbled and flowed through every acupoint in his body. Li Fan wanted to find which acupoints were pierced by the 9 swords of extreme bliss. Li Fan's true qi flowed through his body and finally felt an abnormality in a few acupoints. Looking at it alone, there was nothing wrong with a few acupoints. If he only stimulated these acupoints, there wouldn't be any abnormalities. But if he connected them, it seemed to have some kind of power that stimulated human desire. Li Fan didn't say anything, which made Sima Fong a bit surprised. It was already the 5th sword and he was still able to withstand it? No matter, he wanted to try and see how many swords this kid could withstand. Puff, puff, puff. Li Fan's body was stabbed 3 times in a row. It was already the 8th sword. After the 8th sword, Li Fan felt that his rationality was collapsing. He really wanted Sima Fong to stab out the 9th sword. This 9th sword would be used to end his life, but he still desired it. But Li Fan needed to know what the 9th sword would be like and which acupoint in his body would be stimulated. It wasn't just about lust, Li Fan was deeply curious. Come, come, come. His eyes were slightly red. Give me the last sword. You weakling. Unbelievable. Sima Fong was shocked to see that Li Fan was still able to maintain his rationality. This was the 9 swords of extreme bliss. How could a person block his 9 swords of extreme bliss? Li Fan circulated his qi throughout his body. He felt that he could do something, so he circulated his true qi to his eyes. At that moment, the entire world seemed to have changed in Li Fan's eyes. Before, Li Fan could only vaguely see a person's true qi. But it was only vaguely, and sometimes it didn't work. But now, everything became clear. Every person, every life, even the surrounding plants emitted a faint qi. Some were weak, some were strong. For example, the nameless grass at the side carried a faint layer of qi. And Sima Jun in front of him, his qi was especially strong, like a burning fire. Chapter 503. There was a saying in Buddhism that all living things were equal. Every blade of grass and every tree had its own world. That was what Li Fan was seeing. He was shocked, but Sima Fong was even more surprised. In front of him, Li Fan's eyes actually emitted a pale blue color. No matter what kind of evil martial arts he used, he would die by my sword. Since you want the 9th sword, I'll satisfy you. Sima Fong raised his short sword. Li Fan saw a powerful qi condensing on his short sword. This was true qi. The true qi of a martial fighter. Logically speaking, the short sword should be covered with sword qi. However, Sima Fong's qi seemed a little different. It was not like sword qi, but a more unique qi. He raised his sword and a stream of true qi rushed toward Li Fan. This stream of qi directly imprinted on his heart, sealing the last of the 9 acupoints. Li Fan's body trembled. He felt his qi vibrating all over his body, and an uncontrollable pleasure swept through his body. The unique qi vibrated continuously from the 9 unique acupoints. It would soon break through these acupoints and enter Li Fan's body, even stopping his heart. 9 swords of bliss. After 9 swords, he would meet Yama. In the past, the Sima family only had Monarch Palm and 9 deadly swords. However, since Sima Fong appeared out of nowhere, he modified the 9 deadly swords and created the 9 swords of bliss, which made the Sima family's sword techniques shine even more. After the 9 swords of bliss, the true chi in a martial fighter's body would go on a rampage and finally attack the heart, causing sudden cardiac arrest and death. Sima Fong had never failed with the 9 swords of bliss. That was why he had the title of Yama, Sima Fong. Sima Fong had never failed, but this time, he met the freak Li Fan. Li Fan watched as his true chi began to dissipate. He did not panic, but chose to open another heart meridian. God-connecting meridian. He changed his mental cultivation method from 7 Heroes Force to Star Luo Power. His originally chaotic genuine chi also calmed down, quietly flowing in the God-connecting meridian. When Li Fan activated the Star Luo Supreme Art, his eyes, which were filled with true chi, could also see that all the chi of life in the surroundings was like a star vortex, flowing into his body. It was as if he was the center of this star jade, the center of this universe. If he needed energy, they would provide it to him. Li Fan stopped his Star Luo Supreme Art and re-entered the 7 Gallant Force. He didn't want others to discover his Star Luo power, but the 7 Heroes Art was no problem at all. Moreover, Li Fan wanted to promote his 7 Gallant Fists. This was his dream, and he would definitely make it come true. However, what he needed to do now was to take care of Sima Fong. When Li Fan raised his head again, Sima Fong was shocked. This person actually didn't die. Seeing Li Fan's bleeding slowly stop, Sima Fong's hand, which was holding the short sword, trembled. Impossible! How could someone who had been struck by his 9 swords of bliss still be alive? Unbelievable! Sima Fong, I have already seen through your 9 swords of bliss. Li Fan said, I will defeat you in 3 moves. Although I don't know how you managed to withstand it, it seems like your ability is only to talk big. Sima Fong held the short sword again, die with regret. Li Fan saw Sima Fong's short sword release a strange genuine chi. He stepped to the side, leaned his body, and actually easily dodged Sima Fong's genuine chi. Sima Fong frowned, clearly somewhat surprised. He activated the short sword and shot out a few genuine chi. 9 swords of bliss. The special sword chi on the short sword was formless and colorless. Outsiders shouldn't be able to see it at all. It must have been a coincidence. When the few sword chi flew out, Li Fan didn't even dodge it this time. He directly used the crane hand, and with genuine chi on his palm, he slapped the few sword chi away. Impossible. Sima Fong continued to shoot out sword chi, one after another. With one hand behind his back, Li Fan used the crane hand to defend himself with the other hand, easily slapping away the sword chi in front of him. Impossible. Sima Fong's eyes widened. He activated the inner force in his body and formed a sword chi, preparing to give Li Fan a big blow. But just when he was about to attack, Li Fan took a horse stance and welcomed it with his palm. Beating tiger. Li Fan's palm landed on Sima Fong's lower abdomen, sending Sima Fong flying. The famous Sima Fong was actually sent flying by a junior of the pugilistic world. No one would believe such a thing even if they were to say it out. Li Fan's palm was still emitting green smoke. This move shocked the surrounding people. Yen San was also dumbfounded. This was the first time he saw someone who could defeat Sima Fong. This brat. Is he really a beginner who just entered the pugilistic world? What martial art is that? Sima Fong held his lower abdomen and slowly got up. He looked at Li Fan in disbelief. 7 Hero Fist. Although 7 Hero Fist was the upgraded version of 7 Hero Fist, it was derived from 7 Hero Fist. Li Fan wanted to popularize his 7 Hero Fist. As for 7 Hero Fist, it was his trump card. 7 Hero Fist. Why have I never heard of it before? Sima Fong's face was filled with shock. He was in disbelief. You guys will know it in the future. Li Fan had a face of confidence. In the pugilistic world, the martial art that I, Li Fan, created, 7 Hero Fist will be sung. Its fame will be even greater than the 9 Buddha Sutra. You really know how to talk big. You won't be able to surpass my 9 Sword of Bliss. Is that so? Li Fan hooked his finger at Sima Fong. You have already lost. If you don't like it, you can come again. But to defeat you, I still need 3 moves. Nonsense. You need to be taught a lesson. Sima Fong was a senior in the pugilistic world. How could he tolerate a junior shitting on his neck? Sima Fong's true energy surged. He held his short sword, but 9 Sword of Bliss was useless against Li Fan. And Monarch's palm could not do anything to Li Fan. He was so young, but his inner strength was almost the same as his. How did he cultivate? Did he start cultivating when he was in his mother's womb? Sima Fong was furious. He could not accept his failure, nor could he accept that he could not be compared to this young junior. Bring it on. Li Fan raised 3 fingers, 3 moves. Sima Fong circulated his power to the extreme. His right hand emitted a golden radiance. Monarch's palm. Sima Fong was over 40 years old. He had been cultivating for half a cycle of 60 years. Although his ultimate skill was 9 Sword of Bliss, Monarch's palm was also the Sima family's famous martial art. When he used it, he pushed it to the extreme. Chapter 504. Sima Fong slammed his palm toward Li Fan. He wanted to kill Li Fan. However, Li Fan did not dodge. Seeing Sima Fong's palm descending, he struck out with another simple palm. 7 Brilliance Fist. Beating the tiger. Bang! Sima Fong's body flew out again. He crashed into a house behind him, causing it to collapse. Beating the tiger, this move was not just a simple palm strike. Li Fan took advantage of the moment his opponent made his move and struck out with his palm while he was defenseless. A small loft opposite was completely destroyed. Sima Fong was lying inside and slowly stood up from the billowing dust. Sima Fong's face was slightly distorted. You have angered me. Sima Fong was so angry that his voice changed. However, Li Fan was not afraid of him. Beating the tiger with 2 moves had proven the strength of his 7 Brilliance Fist. It completely suppressed Sima Fong's martial arts. Lord, what should we do? Yen-san could not help but kneel down and ask Sima Fong. My condition is not good tonight. It's not good for me to fight. Sima Fong looked at Li Fan with blue veins throbbing on his face. Go back and recuperate before catching them. Brother. Li Fan could not help but laugh. Don't you think you're thinking too highly of yourself? You beat us up so badly, and now you want to leave just like that? If we want to leave, what can you do to us? With a wave of Sima Fong's hand, more than 50 black-clothed men all landed beside him. Each of them was holding a saber. Standing on the roof, they stared at Li Fan like a tiger watching its prey. Old Guan, Yen Kai. Li Fan ordered the 2 eager brothers behind him, leave this to me. The 2 of them were still injured. It was better for them to recuperate. If their bodies moved too much, there might be repercussions. These are the elites of my Sima family. Sima Fong sneered, and me? Do you think you alone can defeat so many of us? Then come and give it a try. Li Fan's eyes shone with a bluish-white radiance, and a huge amount of true chi suddenly condensed behind him. Soon, a 3-meter-tall bluish-white figure stood up. The figure slowly took shape. It was a strong warrior. Under everyone's shocked gazes, he straightened his body and stretched out his huge palm. 7 Brilliant Fist, Toad Transformation. Although Li Fan did not know how to turn illusions into reality, with his unique understanding of true chi, he could already use true chi to condense some concrete shapes. The 7 Brilliance Fist was the man conquering the heavens. Therefore, the shadow behind him was a warrior, not a wild beast. What the hell is this? It was also Sima Fong's first time seeing such a thing. Turning nothingness into reality. No, this isn't turning nothingness into reality. Extreme Bear King Seal. Li Fan crossed his arms in front of his chest, while the huge man behind him struck out with his palm. Boom! A huge gust of wind from the palm blew the entire house away. The 50 over Sima family's black-clothed thugs were all sent flying by the palm wind. They spun in the air for God knows how many times, and were scattered everywhere. Looks like you don't have any subordinates left. Li Fan looked at Sima Fong, who was barely able to stabilize his body, and asked. Let's have a face-to-face chat. Damn it. What kind of martial art is this? This so-called Seven Brilliant Fist shocked Sima Fong. Seven Brilliant Fist, your memory is too bad. Li Fan narrowed his eyes. I'll let you remember it clearly. Sima Fong did not hesitate. Today was not the time to fight. This kid's martial art was too domineering. Sima Fong's feet shot out and turned around, preparing to escape. But Li Fan's figure suddenly appeared beside him. At the same time, taking advantage of the instant Sima Fong was about to escape, Li Fan had already made his move. Seven Brilliant Fist. Chasing deer. Li Fan's foot was like a bolt of lightning falling from the sky, striking Sima Fong's shoulder. Sima Fong was immediately kicked to the ground. His entire body was in a sorry state, and he even spat out a mouthful of blood. He was injured. Moreover, he was injured by a junior. Li Fan picked up Sima Fong and threw him in front of Guan Wenbao. Old Guan immediately picked up his crescent moon blade and placed it on Sima Fong's neck. Return the dart to us, and I'll let Sima Fong and Sima Tian go. Li Fan said to Yen San. Otherwise, you can wait to collect their corpses. This way, Li Fan would completely offend the Sima family. Li Fan? Yen San was the Sima family's butler after all, and he had experienced many things. Although Sima Fong was defeated by him, he was still very shocked, but he still maintained a bit of rationality and said to Li Fan, "You're very strong." "That's right, but the Sima clan is a big clan. Although Lord Sima Fong is powerful, he's only one person in the Sima clan. There are many experts as powerful as Sima Fong in the Sima clan. Moreover, the strength of our clan is enough to destroy your escort agency 100 or even 1,000 times." So what? Li Fan's unruliness had far exceeded Yen San's imagination. "Since I've come to Jianghu, I won't be afraid of anyone. Now, 2 heads in exchange for my phenomenal escort agency's escort. Are you going to hand them over or not?" Li Fan pressed down with his finger, and the tip of Guan Wenbao's saber pressed down on Sima Fong's neck, causing it to bleed. "It seems like you're going against the Sima family. It was you guys who didn't give me a choice at all." Li Fan laughed. "I'll count to 10. If they don't hand it over, they'll die." "Will pay?" Yen San had resigned himself to his fate. This brat was completely impervious to everything. Threatening him was completely useless. This brat was simply a piece of dead pig skin. "Take the item out." The item was in an inn that they were staying in, and it was not far from here. Yen San immediately sent someone to retrieve the pure gold carp leaping over the dragon's gate. This item was a cultural relic and it was worth some money. However, the Sima family did not lack this item, and they had no use for it. They only wanted to show their might to phenomenal escort agency. In the end, not only did they not show their might, they even threw the Sima family's face onto the ground and stepped on it. "This item is real." Yen Kai inspected the item and then nodded at Li Fan. Only then did Li Fan throw the 2 Sima family members in front of Yen San, one in each hand. "Remember, young master is the little overlord, Li Fan." Li Fan loudly told Yen San, "I don't care who is in the pugilistic world. Whoever dares to provoke me, young master will kill them all." He reminded Yen San, "Go back and tell your master that if he dares to provoke young master again, young master will annihilate the entire Sima family. The Sima family will definitely pay their debts." Yen San ordered the servants to lift Sima Fong and Sima Tian up. Before he left, he threw a harsh sentence at Li Fan. "The Sima family will remember this debt today." Chapter 505. An interesting rumor began to spread in the pugilistic world. Li Fan and his fiefin agency broke through the Sima family's blockade and even defeated the Sima family's expert, Sima Fong, and successfully delivered the goods. In an instant, fiefin agency was in the limelight in the pugilistic world. Not only fiefin agency, but also Li Fan's Fist of the 7 Heroes. There were a few rankings in the pugilistic world that were managed by the Phoenix King. One of them recorded the most powerful martial arts in the pugilistic world. Ranked first was Lu Jinshan's 9 Buddha Sutra. There had never been any other martial arts that could surpass it. Sima Fang's 9 blissful swords broke the previous ranking of fatal 9 swords in one fell swoop and successfully entered the 7th place. Murong Ying's Murong sword technique was ranked 6th, ahead of 9 swords of bliss. Sima Fang had been trying to defeat Murong Ying for a long time, so that 9 swords of bliss would be ranked 6th, but he had never succeeded. But now, because of his failure, a brand new martial art had successfully entered the Godly Skill Manual. 7 Hero Fist was ranked 10th in the Divine Skill Manual. It's already the 10th. This is a good start. Li Fan sat in the classroom and glanced at the ranking of the martial arts on his phone. Looking at Fist of the 7 Heroes, which was ranked 10th, Li Fan must be very happy. From now on, no one in the pugilistic world would ask him what martial arts he was practicing, kid. Or what the hell was Fist of the 7 Heroes. Murong Ying's sword technique is ranked 6th. Li Fan was not satisfied. It seemed that surpassing his wife was on the agenda. Li Fan, you're in the rankings. Bai Lin Luo pushed up his glasses and pointed at the app. Take a look. Li Fan had heard of the rankings. He heard that some of the most powerful martial artists in the pugilistic world would be on the rankings. Someone as awesome as me should be in the top 10, right? Li Fan said with a little joy. You are now ranked 132nd. What the hell? Li Fan was stunned for a moment. He had already defeated Sima Fang, that kind of person, but he was actually ranked 132? It's already not bad, okay? How long has it been since you debuted? Bai Lin Luo patted Li Fan's shoulder. The names on this list are all famous figures who have been famous for several years or even decades. You're already a dark horse if you're able to enter the top 150. What about Sima Fang? What's his ranking? Him? He's ranked 32nd. Bai Lin Luo's words made Li Fan's heart sink. Sima Fang was already an expert, but he was only ranked 32nd? Where's Murong Ying? 10th. Bai Lin Luo checked the list and said, the top 10 should all be at the Grandmaster level. Your future father-in-law is ranked 1st. Fuck. Li Fan took the list, glanced at it, and frowned. The commander of the embroidered uniform guard was ranked 9th in front of Murong Ying. He already had the strength of a grandmaster. Looks like in the top 10, only Murong Ying was at the peak of perfection. My fiancée is indeed powerful. With her strength at the peak of perfection, she is ranked in the top 10. No wonder she is the martial world's alliance master. However, Phoenix King also stated below that this information is only for reference. The pugilistic world is too big. There are still some hidden experts who are not on the list. Bai Lin Luo often studied this information, so his understanding was slightly higher than Li Fan. Li Fan nodded. Indeed, China was so big, and there must be some masters who hid their names. There's also a ranking of aristocratic families and sects? Li Fan looked at the list. The first was the Murong family, and the second was the Sima family. Even Wudong and Shaolin were ranked behind these 2 sects. Li Fan was a little shocked. So these 2 families were really that awesome? The 4 major sects in the pugilistic world were also ranked ahead of Wudong and Shaolin. Although Wudong and Shaolin were old sects, their overall strength could not compare to the 4 major sections. Li Fan saw a familiar name. Fifan Escort Agency, ranked 720th. It was ranked 720th. Although there were no longer any rankings after the 200th place on the ranking list, for some reason, Primo Escort Agency was added to it. What does this mean? Does it mean that Fifan Escort Agency has great potential? Looks like Phoenix King has a high opinion of Fifan Escort Agency. Bai Lin Luo looked at the ranking and lightly knocked on the table as he analyzed. I wonder what Phoenix King is planning. Li Fan knew who the Phoenix King was. That guy looked kind, but he would definitely not get up early without benefits. There must be a reason why he brought up Fifan Escort Agency's ranking. He recalled the last time they met, Phoenix King wanted to invest in his escort agency, but Lin Fan rejected him. Fifan Escort Agency must be under his control, and it was not enough. Li Fan must cooperate with Phoenix King to open a martial arts dojo and promote his martial arts. Li Fan, Bai Lin Luo, Don't whisper in each other's ears in class. Liao Wushuang threw a piece of chalk at Li Fan, and Li Fan caught it. Thank you, Ms. Liao, for throwing me a token of love. Li Fan teased in English, and Liao Wushuang rolled her eyes at him. You bastard! You have so many women already, and you're still flirting with Ms. Liao. Bai Lin Luo was very unhappy. Liao Wushuang was his goddess. Li Fan quickly gave Bai Lin Luo a heads up. Little Four Eyes, Liao Wushuang is also a teacher. It's impossible for her to be with us students. But this can't stop my unrequited love. What I love is this feeling of being unreachable. Bai Lin Luo firmly said. Little Four Eyes, you must know, behind every seemingly unreachable goddess, there is a man who will fuck her to the point of vomiting. Fuck. I can't be a brother anymore. It's that serious? Humph, it's that serious. Bai Lin Luo even pouted. You bastard, can't you stop with the peach blossom? We're all brothers, how can we turn against each other for a woman? Li Fan decided to slowly brainwash Bai Lin Luo because it was impossible for Liao Wushuang to fall in love with Bai Lin Luo. Li Fan did not know why, but he had this kind of feeling. Goddesses are meant to be protected. Then let me ask you a question. While Liao Wushuang was teaching, Li Fan lowered his voice and asked Bai Lin Luo a question. What question? Bai Lin Luo felt a bit strange. Why is there something wrong with Li Fan today? Let me ask you. If Ms. Liao and I are in love, will you turn against me? Huh? Bai Lin Luo was stunned. Chapter 506. Are you kidding me? Bai Lin Luo dryly laughed. How could teacher Liao possibly fall in love with you? He blinked his eyes. Don't tell me it's true. How could it be? I'm just curious and want to ask. Li Fan hid his thoughts and hurriedly explained, You know, I'm a curious person. I don't know. Bai Lin Luo was suddenly asked in a daze. I just admire teacher Liao. If you really want to fall in love with her, that's impossible. If you can be with her, if it's true, I think I'll give you my blessing. But you already have a fiancé. Bai Lin Luo seemed to be a bit tangled. So if you fall in love with teacher Liao, it's definitely not serious. What you said seems to make some sense. I also understand your feelings for teacher Liao. Li Fan nodded, but Liao Wushuang suddenly turned around and said to them, Li Fan, you're too disobedient. Come to my office after class. Li Fan was dumbfounded, while Bai Lin Luo looked at Li Fan gloatingly. Serves you right, who asked you to be so smug? Li Fan helplessly shrugged his shoulders. This kind of thing he really can't talk back to the teacher. Okay, everyone follow me and read this text. Liao Wushuang continued the class. The class time was not long. Soon, it was the end of the class. After class, Li Fan obediently came to Liao Wushuang's office. This office is not big. There are a total of 4 teachers, all of whom are the school's English teachers. Liao Wushuang sat by the window. When Li Fan went in, the other 3 teachers were also there. The 2 English teachers got up and walked outside. The next class is their next. One of the male teachers seemed to like Liao Wushuang very much. Before he left, he put a cup of steaming hot tea in front of Liao Wushuang. Teacher Liao, this is the tea I brought from my hometown. Try it. Thank you, Teacher Yang. Liao Wushuang nodded gratefully at him and then asked Li Fan to stand in front of her desk. The only one left was an English teacher. She sat at the side with headphones on. She seemed to be watching an English movie with the original soundtrack. Li Fan stood in front of Liao Wushuang's desk and looked at Liao Wushuang, who was wearing a gray teacher's uniform. Although it was just an ordinary teacher's uniform, when worn by Liao Wushuang, it really had the allure of a uniform from an educational film. Furthermore, she was wearing black stockings underneath, accompanied by a pair of perfect long legs. It was simply amazing. Fortunately, there was air conditioning in the office. Otherwise, Li Fan would be worried about teacher Liao's health. Yes, it was the body, not the flesh. He was a good youth who cared about others. Sigh, it was so touching. What are you looking at? Liao Wushuang raised her head and rolled her eyes at Li Fan as if she felt his burning gaze. The scenery. Li Fan's words made Liao Wushuang's face blushed. Nonsense again. Is your skin itching? Teacher Liao wants to hit me? Li Fan smiled. Where do you want to hit? I will clean myself for you to hit. Glib tongue, you disappeared for a long time and came back like this. Liao Wushuang threw an English paper in front of him. Look at it yourself. Recently, my English score has slipped again. Teacher Liao, I have some other things to deal with recently, so I don't have much energy to study. Li Fan had to explain. Humph, the most important thing for a student is to study. Liao Wushuang fiercely glared at Li Fan. Knowledge is the foundation for your future success. When did Teacher Liao become so rigid? Li Fan couldn't help but laugh. This is not like Teacher Liao's character. It's not that I'm rigid, but you're about to be a senior, Li Fan. Liao Wushuang was worried for Li Fan. You're very talented. If you play well, although you can't go to Tsinghua University or Peking University, you still have a chance. But if you go to a foreign language school or the University of Political Science and Law, you still have a chance. Liao Wushuang said, moreover, your English is better. If you pass the IELTS, I can help you arrange a foreign university. I have a good relationship with a professor at Columbia University. I can recommend you to him. Liao Wushuang felt as if she was willing to do anything for Li Fan, but Li Fan waved his hand. There's no need to go abroad to study. I'm not used to living with a group of foreign devils. Then you should go to a first-class university in China. 211 is the minimum. Liao Wushuang seemed to have high expectations for Li Fan. Teacher Liao, can't I serve the motherland if I don't go to university? Teacher Liao, you have a problem with your thinking. I should criticize and educate you. Fuck you, you still want to criticize and educate me. Liao Wushuang rolled her eyes at Li Fan. University is the temple of learning and growth. It's open door to you. If you don't experience university life, you'll always be missing something in your life. I will definitely go to university. Li Fan seemed to be a bit impatient. Moreover, Teacher Liao, if I go to university, I can't see you anymore. Could it be that you want me to leave like this? Of course not. Liao Wushuang reacted. She was almost tricked by this brat. Who wouldn't want to leave you, you little bastard? What's our relationship, right? You see, there's no one else here. I'll call you Sister Liao. Don't talk nonsense. Teacher Zhao is still here. Liao Wushuang seemed a bit shy. I don't know what kind of Western porn she's watching. She's wearing headphones and can't hear us. Li Fan smiled and explained, I haven't been alone with Sister Liao for a long time. I feel a bit nervous. If Sister Liao doesn't believe me, listen to me, my heart is beating fast. Fuck you, who wants to listen to your heartbeat? Liao Wushuang softly pouted, cheeky. Sister Liao, I have a question to ask you. Seeing Liao Wushuang's shy look, Li Fan couldn't help but want to tease this almost perfect cow beauty teacher. What question? Liao Wushuang felt that Li Fan suddenly became serious. His serious look was a bit attractive. Sister Liao? Li Fan gently held Liao Wushuang's small hand. Do you accept a teacher-student relationship? Liao Wushuang was a bit flustered. This brat, why would he suddenly ask this question? I should have talked to him about similar questions. Why would he suddenly ask this? Does he want to confess to me? Then should I agree with him? Damn, Liao Wushuang, how could you think of this? Liao Wushuang, you're too unprofessional. Have you forgotten your job? Chapter 507. Liao Wushuang fiercely despised herself in her heart. Okay. Class is about to start, you should go. Liao Wushuang didn't know how to reprimand Li Fan, so she urged Li Fan to leave. The next class is physical education, it doesn't matter if you go or not. Li Fan shamelessly said, I don't want to leave. I want to chat with Teacher Liao. Li Fan held Liao Wushuang's hand with a reluctant look. Teacher Liao, we have a good saying in China, it's easy to invite a god, but hard to send him away. Screw you, it's not like I don't know this saying. You say we're from China? I'm not from China. Liao Wushuang didn't know how many times she looked at Li Fan, as if she was very angry with Li Fan. Go, hurry up and go to class, I don't want to see you again. Really? Liao Wushuang tried to drive Li Fan out, but Li Fan was like an old tree rooted to the ground, standing there, motionless. No matter how Liao Wushuang pushed, she couldn't push him away. Damn, you only know how to bully me. Liao Wushuang saw her colleague wearing earphones, listening attentively, so she unscrupulously complained to Li Fan. She pushed Li Fan hard, but her waist sprained, causing her to groan in pain. What's wrong? Li Fan was taken aback and quickly went forward to check Liao Wushuang's body. My waist has been hurting recently. It seems like it's sprained. Liao Wushuang gently frowned, her hand pressed on her waist and said, What's wrong? Are you hurt? I've been sitting all year round, so I have some lumbar muscle strain. Liao Wushuang bitterly smiled. Teacher Liao is only about 20 years old, how could you have lumbar muscle strain? Li Fan's hand gently pressed on her waist, making Liao Wushuang a bit itchy. So, it's ticklish. I'm very ticklish. Liao Wushuang wanted to push Li Fan away, but she didn't have the strength. Teacher Liao, sit down. Li Fan pushed Liao Wushuang back to her seat, then squatted in front of her, his hands gently pressing her waist. But Liao Wushuang was a little uncomfortable. Li Fan said, Teacher Liao, spread your legs. It will be more comfortable. You, go to hell. Liao Wushuang was wearing a uniform skirt, and if her legs were separated she would be seen by Li Fan. Teacher Liao, don't overthink it. I'm just helping you treat your waist. Li Fan said righteously, my Zhenqi is quite effective. You can try it. Really? Liao Wushuang didn't seem to believe it. Li Fan only used a bit of internal force, and Liao Wushuang immediately felt her waist heat up. She felt a lot more comfortable. She was a little surprised. How could this be? True qi can improve a person's bodily functions and physique. Li Fan said, but your current posture will affect the blood circulation in your waist, which will make the treatment less effective. Liao Wushuang looked at the serious look in Li Fan's eyes. She didn't know if he was serious or just fooling her. But, anyway, he had already seen all the places that should be seen. Now, if she slightly separated her legs, it should be no problem, but today she was wearing a hibik, and it was lace. If he saw it, it would be too embarrassing, but she still wanted to try it. Liao Wushuang buried her head in the book beside her, and then quietly separated her legs. Li Fan felt his blood rushing to his head. Teacher Liao's dressing was really open. After Liao Wushuang separated her legs, she indeed felt the pressure on her waist loosening a bit. That warm power also moved back and forth faster and more comfortable. So, he didn't lie to me. I thought of him as a bad person just now, it's my fault, but this posture is indeed a bit embarrassing. Li Fan squatted under Liao Wushuang's desk, his hands holding her small waist. Although Liao Wushuang felt that Li Fan didn't lie to her, she neglected one thing. Why Li Fan didn't choose to do it behind her, but in front of her? At this time, she was too comfortable and forgot about these things. But at this time, Teacher Zhao, who had been watching the movie, suddenly took off her headphones and asked Liao Wushuang, Teacher Liao, I forgot to ask you. Yesterday I asked you to help me mark the papers. Oh, here. Liao Wushuang woke up. She wanted to get up to take the papers, but she couldn't feel her waist, so she couldn't move. Li Fan was helping her, so Liao Wushuang couldn't get up at this time. But that Teacher Zhao seemed to be a bit impatient. She already stood up. Your waist is acting up again. It's okay, I'll go get it. Liao Wushuang was a bit scared. At this time, Li Fan was squatting under her desk. If someone saw her like this, it would be hard to explain. But she came over step by step. What should I do? I can't move, and Li Fan doesn't have the intention to stop. What should I do? Should I ask Li Fan to stop? He definitely won't listen to me. Should I ask Teacher Zhao to stop? It's not like that. God, I'm really in a dilemma. What should I do? But at this time, it seems like because the window was not closed, a sudden gust of wind blew in. The stack of papers on the table was directly blown up and scattered behind Teacher Zhao. Aya, this evil wind. It's okay. Teacher Liao, you sit down, I'll pick it up. Teacher Zhao turned around, squatted on the ground and began to pick up the scattered papers. Liao Wushuang's heart was relieved, but she couldn't help but feel a bit strange. Is it really a gust of wind? Or is it Li Fan's trick? Li Fan seemed to be a bit tired from squatting and actually buried his head between Liao Wushuang's legs. Liao Wushuang was suddenly embarrassed and her body trembled. Li Fan, this guy, he must be doing it on purpose, but Liao Wushuang somewhat enjoyed the feeling on her waist. That warm and pleasant feeling flowed all over her body. It's really comfortable. Liao Wushuang felt a bit addicted. No, how can I be addicted to this kind of thing? After Teacher Zhao finished picking up the papers, she suddenly remembered something and asked Li Fan, "Hey, where's that student?" He just went out. Liao Wushuang endured a little tremble in her voice and answered, "Oh, right, it's time for class. But this kid is a famous bully, can he honestly go to class?" Teacher Zhao jokingly said, "A beautiful woman like Teacher Liao, he might find a way to pursue you." Liao Wushuang blushed. "Teacher Zhao, don't joke around. He's my student." Chapter 508. Io, Teacher Liao came back from abroad. Why do you also pay attention to this? Teacher Zhao couldn't help but laugh. I thought that only we, the old pedants in our country, would have this kind of feudal thinking. Teacher Zhao is only in his early 20s. How did he become an old pedant? In a place like China, if a teacher and a student fall in love, they will be dragged out and scolded. Teacher Zhao was very emotional. When the time comes, not to mention falling in love, they will even lose their jobs. They will be condemned by everyone. What about Teacher Zhao? Do you think it's not good? Liao Wushuang used chatting to cover it up. How is it not good? Some students are really quite handsome. Teacher Zhao's eyes emitted little stars, but only in foreign countries can such a romantic thing happen. Is it really very romantic? Liao Wushuang couldn't help but ask. Of course, to be with the person you really like, to break through layers of obstacles, all the restraints, all the dogmas. It doesn't matter, as long as there is love, that's enough. But is love really that important? Of course, in our lives, there are only a few things. Teacher Zhao counted his fingers: career, love, family. We women, only the last two are important. This career, may not be that important. Teacher Zhao, you can't say that. Liao Wushuang quickly said, men look down on us, but we women can't look down on ourselves. Teacher Liao, what's wrong? Is your waist still uncomfortable? Do you want me to help you massage it? Teacher Zhao asked enthusiastically. I don't need. I'm ticklish. Liao Wushuang quickly rejected the other party's good intentions. I'll just bear with it for a while. In our line of work, there aren't many people with good health. Teacher Zhao said, you must pay more attention to your body. Yes, thank you, Teacher Zhao. Oh right, I have a heat pack here. It's very comfortable to stick on. I'll give it to you. Teacher Zhao was very enthusiastic. She took out a stack of heat packs and placed them on Liao Wushuang's desk. Liao Wushuang was really on tenterhooks, afraid that Li Fan would be discovered. But Li Fan was so unscrupulous. His hands were pinching Liao Wushuang's waist, and his face was buried between her legs, driving her crazy. This bastard Li Fan is so annoying, but it doesn't seem to be that annoying. So tangled. Gemini women are all so tangled. This abominable Li Fan was too abominable. Right, I still have to go out and get something. I'll have to trouble Teacher Liao to look after the office alone. Teacher Zhao finally left. She turned around and left the office. Liao Wushuang let out a long sigh of relief. That's much better. I don't feel so depressed anymore. She's gone. Come out quickly. Liao Wushuang lowered her head. I'm not coming out. It's nice here. It's warm. Warm your ass. Come out. Liao Wushuang was on the verge of crying. She couldn't let this go on. Hurry up and leave while she's gone. Liao Wushuang wanted Li Fan to leave as soon as possible. She couldn't stand it anymore. If this went on, Liao Wuxuang always felt that she would make a mistake that she shouldn't have made. Li Fan was really... She couldn't hold him. Li Fan's true qi was almost used up. Any more and it would cause damage to Liao Wuxuang's body. Every time he transferred an appropriate amount of true qi, after all, moderation is the best. If the amount was too much, it wouldn't be good. From now on, you have to give Sister Liao a massage every day for 20 minutes. One treatment per month. Ah? Only one course of treatment a month? Liao Wuxuang froze for a moment. How many treatments do you need? More than 1,000. Ah. According to the time, it seems that Sister Liao can only marry me. Really? Liao Wuxuang was a bit dazed. So long, I'm just teasing you. 3 or 4 treatments should be enough. Li Fan finally stood up, reached out his hand, and gently touched Liao Wuxuang's forehead. Fortunately, it's not hot. Li Fan breathed a sigh of relief. Those who were infused with true qi by him, some of them had a weak body and would have a slight fever. But Liao Wuxuang was fine, probably because she was a true qi insulator. Quick, let's go back to class. Liao Wuxuang glanced outside the window. Li Fan's class's students were on the playground. Spring had arrived, and many students were exercising. Many students were running happily. Some were playing soccer, some were playing basketball. While the girls were generally in groups of 3 to 5 chatting. They didn't really like sports. Many boys were showing off in front of the girls they liked. Whether it was basketball or soccer, they all put in a lot of effort. Lin Yuchen's class happened to be a physical education class, but Li Fan didn't need to guess to know that she didn't like sports. Sure enough, she was sitting on the concrete table next to him, holding a book in her hand. Li Fan used his eyesight to gather true qi in his eyes. Even at a distance of a few hundred meters, the name of the book became clear in front of him. Criminal Psychology? Damn, why is this girl reading this? Go and exercise with them. Students should be full of energy, Wang Yao said. Okay, then I'll go down for a walk. Li Fan said and directly opened the window. What are you doing? Liao Wuxuang was stunned for a moment. Taking the stairs is too slow. Li Fan said and directly jumped down from the 3rd floor. His body very gracefully somersaulted in the air and then steadily landed on the ground. No one noticed Li Fan. After all, no one knew that someone could jump down from the 3rd floor window. Li Fan's qigong was indeed beautiful. He landed on the playground and walked toward the class. Although the physical education teacher saw Li Fan coming later, he didn't dare to say anything. After all, he knew how the previous physical education teacher resigned from this school. Who dared to provoke this Li Fan? He was indeed a little bully. Li Fan, you're here. We're just short of one person. Bai Lin Luo had no other hobbies other than English and playing football. He waved his hand at Li Fan and shouted, "Come and help me." "Ah, I won't participate." Li Fan waved his hand. "Aya, let's play together." Bai Lin Luo kicked the ball to Li Fan, and Li Fan swung his foot. The football immediately flew across half of the playground, drew an arc, and directly fell into the goal. The goalkeeper was dumbfounded. Forget it. It's better not to bring you. Bai Lin Luo also realized this fact. Bringing Li Fan to play this game was simply torturing himself. Chapter 509. You're Li Fan. Just as Li Fan was about to stretch his body, a sturdy boy suddenly walked over from Lin Yuan's class. He seemed to be a sports student, but he only wore a sports top and sports shorts on this cold day. Spring was freezing, but water didn't freeze. This person was still domineering even with his legs bare. However, Li Fan looked at his thick leg hair. Damn, he was born with a pair of thick fur pants. Look, isn't that your little lover? A girl gently pushed Lin Yuan. Lin Yuan raised her head and blushed when she saw Li Fan. What are you talking about, really? Why did the gorilla from our class go over there? I think he went to look for your little lover. Lin Yuan tilted her head and looked at the other end of the sports field. Gorilla was a nickname. This guy was called Zhao Zheqi. He was a sports student and a seeded player. It was said that he was an all-rounder in 10 sports and was quite famous in school. He was also good-looking and good at basketball. He was quite famous in the class and had some female fans. However, the person Zhao Jieqi liked was none other than the campus belle, Lin Yueqing. Recently, there was a rumor circulating in the school that the untouchable campus belle, Lin Yueqing, only liked one man, and that was the little tyrant, Li Fan. Zhao Jieqi was unhappy. He was the most popular person in the class. How could he give the woman he liked to an outsider? You're Li Fan? Zhao Jieqi took advantage of Li Fan's PE class to provoke him. It was too rare for Li Fan to come to PE class. Although the two classes always had PE class together, it was already good enough for the little tyrant, Li Fan, to come to PE class once in 1,000 years. Zhao Jieqi felt that Li Fan's existence was an insult to him. You're Li Fan? Big brother, you've asked this question 3 times already. Li Fan felt very helpless. Are you stupid? In the entire second high school, is there anyone who doesn't know me, Li Fan? In number 2 private high school, Li Fan's name was indeed known by everyone. Little tyrant Li Fan, the strongest student in the school. Do you think you're special? When Zhao Jieqi saw Li Fan, she was filled with anger. Especially when he realized that Lin Yueqi's gaze was fixed on him, he puffed up his chest and said, "Today, I'm going to show you what a truly capable person looks like." As the two of them quarreled, the surrounding students gathered around them. The PE teacher didn't dare to interfere with Li Fan's affairs and could only watch from the side. As long as the two of them didn't fight, it would be fine. If they did, Zhao Jieqi would be at a disadvantage. What are you doing? Li Fan could not help but ask. I want to compete with you. Zhao Jieqi pointed at Li Fan and proudly said, the loser will kneel down and call me grandpa. Forget it, for your own good, go play basketball. Li Fan tried to persuade him. No, I want to compete with you. Zhao Jieqi was eager to show off in front of Lin Yueqing, so she had no intention of backing down. What, Li Fan, are you afraid? I knew it, you're a fucking coward. Fine. Li Fan couldn't help it. What else could he say since the other party had already said it like this? Compete with what? I'll compete with you in 10 sports. If you can beat me in 5, I'll consider it your win. Zhao Jieqi was very confident, but I'm an all-rounder. Defeating you is too easy. Fine, since you're so confident, then let's compete. Li Fan looked at the basketball in Zhao Jieqi's hand. Let's compete with what you're best at. Ah, what a fool. Zhao Jieqi could not help but clap her hands and laugh. You actually want to compete with what I'm best at. Good, good, see how I'll defeat you. With that, Zhao Jieqi glanced at Lin Yueqing. Realizing that Lin Yueqing was also looking at him, he became even happier. Tsk, sure enough, she's attracted to me. Now I'll let Lin Yueqing see what a real man is. Just as he was feeling happy, Lin Yueqing's side was also in an uproar. Ah, the gorilla and your little lover are fighting. Her best friend pulled Lin Yueqing. Are you nervous? Nervous my ass, idiot boy. Lin Yueqing could not be bothered. This kind of idiot actually challenged Li Fan, he would definitely be crushed. Li Fan too, what's the point of this kind of competition? With your small physique, I'm not going to play bullshit with you. Zhao Jieqi patted her chest in a very fair manner. I'll compete with you in point shooting. Under the basket, the 2-point line, and the 3-point line, 3 points each. Whoever scores more points will win, how about it? Alright, then you go first. Li Fan extended his hand, and Zhao Jieqi deliberately acted cool, dribbling the ball while running into the basketball court's restricted area, and made a beautiful slam dunk first. This Zhao Jieqi was not short, and her athletic ability was also developed. Her slam dunk was indeed very beautiful, causing a lot of girls to exclaim. Don't let me make you cry. Zhao Jieqi said as he stood under the backboard, and all 3 of his shots accurately hit the backboard. Following that, he walked to the 2-point line and stood on his favorite left side. All 3 shots were also successful, and the basketball went into the air. Very beautiful. Even Li Fan could not help but clap his hands for him. This brother, in the future, if he specialized in basketball, he should be able to have a good result. Unfortunately, he came to challenge me and hit my self-confidence. This Zhao Jieqi was very confident. He walked to the 3-point line and shot in turn. 3 shots, 2 goals. This result is already very good. Zhao Jieqi's touch was very good. He gave a middle finger to Li Fan, and then threw the basketball to the other side. Pa! Li Fan caught the basketball. He did not act pretentious, and casually dribbled the ball while walking to the backboard. He looked at Zhao Jieqi's provocative eyes, reached out his hand, and casually threw the basketball. Li Fan did not make any movements to shoot. He casually hooked his hand, and then threw the basketball into the hoop. Zhao Jieqi could not help but think of Jabbar. But this Li Fan, it should be a fluke. Li Fan walked to the 2-point line, and casually hooked his hand 3 times. The basketball spirit entered the hoop, not even hitting the backboard. Zhao Jieqi was slightly stunned. This shouldn't be a fluke, right? 3-point line. Hooking at the 3-point line is not effective. 2 3-pointers, it is already considered an extraordinary performance. In this kind of place, no one dares to say that they are 100% accurate. And Li Fan hooked his hand 3 times. The basketball drew a beautiful parabola every time, and accurately fell into the hoop. Zhao Jieqi was a little dumbfounded. This is impossible. Hooking, how can it be a 3-pointer? Well, you lost this round. What's the next round? Li Fan hugged the basketball and looked at Zhao Jieqi with a relaxed expression. Chapter 5:10. Zhao Jieqi was dumbfounded. He was best at basketball. How could he be defeated in a second? This Li Fan is really good at basketball, but at most, he's just good at basketball. Maybe he's just luckier. A hook shot for a 3-pointer. This was definitely not a technique. Who could use a hook shot for a 3-pointer? Zhao Jieqi had lived for a long time and had never seen such a thing. Zhao Jieqi took 2 deep breaths and looked at Lin Yun, who was sitting at the side. No, I must display my true abilities. I cannot let Lin Yun look down on me. I must perform well today. I must humiliate Li Fan. This Li Fan was good at fighting. I don't believe he is good at sports too. In sports, I am the real master. A real all-rounder. The next event is the long jump. Zhao Jieqi's thighs were firm and strong. They had always been his pride. Sure, let's compete then. Li Fan did not mind. Since it was just bullying, it was the same no matter how he bullied. I am someone who won the long jump championship in the city. This time you are dead meat. Zhao Jieqi walked to the front of the sand and moved his legs. Don't be scared to tears by my jumping ability. As she spoke, Zhao Jieqi sprinted madly. She ran up frantically and finally jumped off the takeoff line, achieving a score of 8.5 meters. This was already an amazing result. It was close to the world record. Wow, she jumped so far. Flying man. These students saw Zhao Jieqi jumping so far and could not help but be surprised. Even the PE teacher was surprised. This Zhao Jieqi was indeed an all-rounder. Li Fan did not even run. He just walked leisurely to the starting line. Zhao Jieqi wanted to laugh. This guy was shocked by his jumping ability. Is he going to give up? He is not a man. He does not even have the courage to fight. Li Fan just walked to the front, bounced his feet, jumped into the air, and did a beautiful somersault in the air. Li Fan jumped 15 meters away and landed steadily on the ground. Zhao Jieqi was a little unsteady and almost fell to the ground. How could this be? Am I seeing things? He watched as Li Fan somersaulted in the air, like those martial arts masters in television dramas, somersaulting in the air. This was impossible, absolutely impossible. Holy shit. How did it jump out? Could it be Qinggong? The surrounding students were all shocked as well. They all knew that the little tyrant was powerful, but this was just too powerful, right? The PE teacher rubbed his eyes hard, thinking that he might be seeing things. Oh my god, that lover of yours. Isn't he a bit powerful? Her best friend's mouth was agape as she asked Lin Yun, how did he jump out? Lin Yun was not surprised at all. Others might not know how strong Li Fan was, but how could she not know? Zhao Jieqi's confidence was probably going to be destroyed this time around. What's next? Li Fan asked. Next is the shot put. Not knowing why, Zhao Jieqi seemed to be a little uncertain. This man, how could he jump so far? Seems like his jumping ability is very powerful. I can't choose the leg exercise. Why not choose the shot put, which I have been practicing for many years? He could throw a distance of 20 meters now. I feel very confident today. I might be able to break my own record. Zhao Jieqi picked up the heavy shot put and placed it on his shoulder. The people around him kept a safe distance. Zhao Jieqi spun, using his waist to drive the strength of his arms. He fiercely threw the shot put out. Xiao! Don't! The shot put hit the ground. Under the gaze of Lin Yuying, Zhao Jieqi really broke through him this time, throwing a distance of 21 meters. This distance, for a Chinese athlete, was already a very powerful distance. Zhao Jieqi himself was also very excited. Too powerful, I am really too powerful. Li Fan casually picked up the shot put and played with it in his hands. This made Zhao Jieqi's eyes open wide. Li Fan threw it lightly, and the shot put drew an arc in the air and was thrown at least 30 meters away. Zhao Jieqi could not hold it in anymore. He wanted to curse. How is this possible? This is absolutely impossible. Although they had only competed in 3 of the decathlon, Zhao Jieqi suddenly felt that this Li Fan was a monster. Comparing a human's athletic ability with this monster. I am like an idiot. Zhao Jieqi was dumbfounded. This was the first time he had lost to another student in sports. How is this possible? Zhao Jieqi could not believe his eyes. He felt that from the moment he provoked Li Fan to the moment he threw the shot put, everything was like a dream. God, is he joking with me? Okay, what's the next event? Li Fan looked at Zhao Jieqi leisurely, waiting for him to announce the next event. Are you human? Zhao Jieqi finally could not hold it in anymore and asked. I am the real deal. Li Fan nodded without hesitation. What's the next event? I admit defeat. Zhao Jieqi could not be arrogant and was completely terrified. With Li Fan's ability, how could he compete with him? Any project in his hands was like playing a game. Not to mention him, even if a real-world champion came, he would be easily crushed by Li Fan. Although Zhao Jieqi was proud, he was not stupid. If he continued to compete, he would only lose face in front of Lin Yuying. Zhao Jieqi did not know what to do. He was unwilling to admit defeat. Admitting defeat in front of the goddess. There was nothing more painful than this. Zhao Jieqi was very unwilling. He wished he could find a hole to hide in. But at this moment, there was a sudden movement from the entrance. A group of hooligans walked in, each of them holding an axe in their hands, and each of them looked fierce. There were more than 10 of them, and they walked into the school and stood on the field. Some of the hooligans stood at the entrance, blocking the exit. The students on the field were frightened. They wanted to run, but the leader of the group was holding a 5-shot gun and roared. Shut up, all of you. Kneel on the ground. He fired a shot into the sky. The deafening gunshots scared the students into squatting down. Li Fan frowned and stared at these people. Bai Lin Luo squatted beside him and whispered in his ear. It's the yellow uniform group. All the hooligans here had a yellow scarf tied around their neck to prove their identity. Chapter 511. It can be said that Li Fan did not expect this group of people from the Yellow Uniform Regiment to play this big. Rushing into the school, kidnapping a student. This is enough to become a big case. However, Sun Jiaoyang did not show himself, but chose a subordinate that he was proud of. This kid is bald with a scar on his face. He directly aimed 5 consecutive shots at Lin Yuying. Li Fan, fuck you, get out here. That scar-faced man roared. The 5 consecutive shots pressed against Lin Yuying's head. This young lady is related to you, right? Scar-faced man looked at the only one standing there. Li Fan, weren't you very arrogant? Damn you, I'll kill you today. Come here and kneel. I'm here. Calm down, if there's anything we can talk it out. Li Fan slowly walked towards Scar-faced man, but Scar-faced man sneered, kneel over here. Did you hear me? I know you're strong. If you don't kneel over here, I'm a little afraid of you. Afraid of me? You still dare to bring so many people. Li Fan smiled, then said to Lin Yin, "Don't worry, with me here, you won't be in danger." Lin Yin had a shotgun pointed at her head, but she was not the least bit afraid. On the contrary, she was very calm. Everything is because of Li Fan. As long as Li Fan is here, Lin Yuan believes that even if the sky falls, it will not hurt her. She trusts Li Fan that much. Forced to raise, you're still a lover. Scar-faced man is a fierce bandit. His name is Stone. He has done all kinds of bad things since he was young. To him, as long as he lives, he will live. Back then, Sun Jiaoyang gave him a meal. He swore to repay Sun Jiaoyang with his life. Therefore, this time, under Sun Jiaoyang's incitement, Stone brought a group of desperados who also didn't care about their lives to this private number 2 high school, ready to kill Li Fan. "Kneel, hurry up and kneel." Stone pointed the gun at Lin Yu. "If you don't come over on your knees, I'll kill her." Stone's expression was ferocious, and he didn't look like he was joking. At this moment, a flying dagger suddenly stabbed into his palm, causing him to scream in pain. He subconsciously let go of the 5-shot combo. "Brotherly, I'll help you take care of him." A graceful figure floated over. Yin Tian landed beside Li Fan with 4 throwing knives in her hands. Yin Tian was very good at throwing knives. Just like Shaoli, she never missed. The dozen or so desperados were furious. They immediately picked up their axes and threw them at Li Fan. But Yin Tian just stood there, throwing knives in her hands, knocking away all the axes that were flying towards her. The 10 or so desperados looked at each other and pulled out a pistol from their pockets. These pistols were crudely made and could only fire 1 bullet. After 1 shot, the gun was rendered useless. But it didn't matter. These pistols were enough to kill people. But these desperados didn't even have the chance to shoot. These 10 or so desperados suddenly had a bloody hole in their necks. Then, they spat out blood and knelt on the ground. "Who is it?" Stone roared. He used his uninjured hand to pull out a pistol from his pocket and pointed it at the place where the desperados were standing. A beautiful woman with an umbrella in her hand was standing there with a faint smile on her face. Li Fan was very familiar with this woman. She was the devil sex assassin, Qin Meng. How annoying. I originally wanted to assassinate Li Fan, but it turned out to be so lively. Qin Meng sighed. Stone immediately raised his pistol and cursed as he pulled the trigger at Qin Meng. Qin Meng only held the umbrella in front of her. When the bullets landed on the umbrella, they bounced off as if they were hitting a steel plate. Ka ka ka. Although Stone had a good gun in his hand, he only had 7 bullets. After the bullets ran out, he was dumbfounded. He threw the pistol at Qin Meng. Qin Meng suddenly raised her hand and accurately stabbed the thin sword in her hand into the space between Stone's eyebrows. Before he could even scream, Stone's life was over. Qin Meng swung her hand and the blood on the thin sword fell to the ground. The students at the side cried out in shock. This was murder. They wanted to escape but didn't dare. They could only squat on the ground and shiver. Li Fan finally saw Qin Meng's thin sword clearly. It was different from the traditional Oriental longsword. Qin Meng was holding a Western thin sword. The handle of the thin sword was in the shape of a butterfly. It was very beautiful. The thin sword was usually hidden in the umbrella and would only be pulled out when it was time to make a move. "Li Fan, it seems like you have a lot of enemies." Qin Meng said, "However, your life is mine. Lord Sect Leader said that killing you would give me a lot of benefits. Then I'm really sorry. I, Li Fan, don't want to give my life to others." Li Fan crossed his arms and stood in front of Qin Meng. Qin Meng suddenly put down the umbrella and used it to block in front of her. A few flying daggers flew over and hit the umbrella, but they were all bounced off. "Yin family, do you want to interfere?" "It doesn't matter. This time, I have made thorough preparations." Qin Meng seemed to be very confident. She put the thin sword back into the umbrella and covered her mouth as she chuckled. "Brotherly, don't worry. I will help you from the back." Yin Tian gave Li Fan a reassuring look. Li Fan nodded. "Since that's the case, I can rest assured." With that, Li Fan took 2 steps forward. Qin Meng's eyes widened as her right hand gently touched the hilt of her sword. Seemingly because of the upcoming battle, a cool breeze blew. Tian, who was standing behind, suddenly sneezed. Immediately after, Li Fan turned around and grabbed a flying dagger. It was unknown when Tian had tied her hair into a ponytail again. She said coldly, "Li Fan, I finally waited for you to be alone. This time I must kill you." Li Fan broke out in a cold sweat. "Fuck you, what the hell are you doing?" "Tianan, what are you doing?" Li Fan frowned. "Bah." Tian looked at Li Fan angrily. "Who told you to call my name? Go to hell." As soon as she let go, she threw out a few more flying daggers. But at this time, the umbrella blocked Li Fan and blocked the few flying daggers for him. "I'm really sorry." Qin Meng said to Tian, "The thing I hate the most is to cooperate with others. He's my prey." A sword to the throat? Tian also knew Qin Meng's identity. "Just in time, I'll get rid of you as well." Family's little girl, your words are very presumptuous." Qin Meng didn't seem to put Tian in her eyes. "Your childish methods are far from enough to deal with me." With that, Qin Meng suddenly appeared in front of Tian. Under Tian's shocked gaze, the rapier went straight to Tian's forehead. Chapter 5:12. Just as Qin Meng was about to kill Tian, a hand grabbed her collar from behind and threw her to the ground. Qin Meng laid on the ground and looked at Li Fan, who was above her, in surprise. I helped you take care of her, isn't that good?" "Of course not." Li Fan said. "In front of me, you can't kill anyone. You're really an interesting person." Qin Meng had a smile on her face. "No wonder Our Lady Saintess can't forget you." "Holy Maiden?" Li Fan frowned. Who was this Holy Maiden? He did not remember having any contact with the devil sect's Holy Maiden. "You really are a bastard. You actually have an affair with the devil sect." Tian became even angrier. "Go to hell." She waved her hand and the flying daggers flew towards him. Tian's flying daggers were very smooth and flew towards Li Fan from all angles. However, Li Fan's eyes were filled with true energy and emitted a blue and white light. None of those flying daggers could escape Li Fan's sight. He stretched out his hands and easily caught all the flying knives in his hands. Tian, do you have a double personality?" Li Fan asked. "Double your S. Go to hell." Tian's style of speaking was no different from a man's. She had returned to the Tian that Li Fan first knew. Tian threw out more than 10 flying daggers in a row. Li Fan knew that the storage of those flying daggers on her body was like an arsenal. However, Li Fan waved his crane hand and continuously hit Tian's flying daggers away. "Woman, I already said that you are not allowed to make a move." Qin Meng appeared behind Tian and at the same time, the thin sword in her hand stabbed towards the back of Tian's neck. However, it was unknown how Tian's flying daggers were used. 2 of them actually made an arc in the air and flew towards the back of Qin Meng's head. Qin Meng was also somewhat surprised. She retreated and dodged Tian's killing move from behind. Tian caught the 2 daggers with both hands and put them away. The family's flying daggers are indeed powerful. Qin Meng nodded. "But can you move aside? If you want to kill this man, I'll kill him for you. Devil sect's lackey, who wants to associate with you." Tian and Qin Meng seemed to be fighting to the death. Li Fan was very helpless. "This is my school. Both of you get out of here." Looking at the frightened students, Li Fan frowned. "Li Fan, how dare you talk to me like that?" Tian held the flying knife. "I'll kill you. Don't interrupt. I'll deal with you after I'm done with her." Qin Meng seemed to be advising Li Fan not to be anxious, but how could Li Fan remain calm? These 2 women didn't give him any face at all. Since that was the case, Li Fan would not be courteous. "This has nothing to do with you." The 2 women ignored Li Fan. The 2 of them attacked Li Fan at the same time, wanting to force Li Fan back first. Li Fan had seen through the 2's moves in an instant. He struck out with both of his palms. Beating tiger. Double. The two women were sent flying by Li Fan at the same time and fell to the ground. If you don't scram, I won't be courteous anymore. Li Fan said coldly. If you want to fight, go outside. Qin Meng was a little surprised. This Li Fan's martial arts seemed to be stronger than before. How is this possible? Qin Meng didn't quite believe it. In just a few days, how could Li Fan's strength improve so much? This is your 7-hero fist? Now that the 7-hero fist was ranked 10th in the Divine Art Manual, everyone in the pugilistic world naturally knew of this martial art. Yeah, do you want to learn? Li Fan winked at Qin Meng. I can teach you. This martial art of yours is not suitable for me. But the sect leader might be interested. Qin Meng sized up Li Fan. Tell me your martial art and I can spare your life. Stop teasing me. Li Fan couldn't help but want to laugh. You don't have the ability to kill me. Let your master do it. You don't have the qualifications to see my sect leader. Qin Meng mocked and ridiculed. What awaits you is only death. This will make you lose your fun. Li Fan shrugged his shoulders. Then I'll play with you. Li Fan, you have to die in my hands first. Yin Tian held 2 throwing knives, preparing to kill Li Fan again. She swung her hand and the 2 throwing knives flew out. These 2 throwing knives constantly collided in the air as if they could walk by themselves, constantly changing their direction. Only Yin Tian knew how to use this unique method. Swish, swish. Li Fan was stabbed, but his figure slowly disappeared. Playtip. Li Fan's afterimage was too realistic that Yin Tian couldn't differentiate it at all. Li Fan had already appeared behind Yin Tian. With a crane nod, he poked Yin Tian's acupoint, causing her to temporarily lose her ability to move. Qi Huang fist. Click crane. Li Fan accurately poked Yin Tian's acupoint, and his true qi instantly entered Yin Tian's meridians. Li Fan's true qi locked all of Yin Tian's meridians, causing her to be unable to move. Even if inner force existed, the concept of hitting acupoints did not exist. However, Li Fan invented the click crane. Through this move, he locked the opponent's meridians, thus locking the opponent's movement. Yin Tian looked at her own hand in shock. She was unable to move. What kind of situation was this? She had never encountered it before. It was as if his entire body had been frozen in cement. In martial arts, there was a move called hit acupoints. It caused the human body's blood to temporarily stop flowing, thus temporarily losing the ability to move. But locking the body was the same as hitting acupoints. This was something she had never seen before. Li Fan's click crane scared Qin Meng. How did you do it? Qin Meng couldn't believe her eyes. This was impossible. How could there be such a martial art? Hit acupoints. This was the nonsensical hit acupoints in movies and dramas. Impossible, absolutely impossible. Do you want to try? Li Fan looked at Qin Meng and shook his 2 fingers. I guarantee to send you to heaven. There were a few ways to hit acupoints with the click crane. Li Fan had only tried one of them. Why would I, your sister, be afraid of you? Qin Meng's feet bounced. Her entire body flashed left and right a few times before appearing in front of Li Fan. She grabbed the umbrella in her hand and instantly pulled out a rapier from the umbrella, thrusting it towards Li Fan. Li Fan raised his hand and slapped Qin Meng's rapier to the side. At the same time, his other hand used the crane's beak to tap out. Click crane. Li Fan's hand accurately landed on Qin Meng's acupoints. The true qi did not lock Qin Meng's body. Instead, it flowed through the 9 acupoints in her body. Qin Meng's face instantly turned red. Her mouth even let out an intoxicating moan. This was a move that Li Fan had learned from the 9 swords of extreme bliss. At this moment, he was using it on Qin Meng. Chapter 5:13. Qin Meng felt her body heating up, a kind of pleasure that she could not block at all, continuously jumping up to the top of her head. Her body went soft, unable to exert any strength. This move of Li Fan's was simply too lethal to girls. What kind of demonic technique did you use on me? Qin Meng clenched her teeth and asked, "How is it? Is it comfortable?" Li Fan chuckled and asked. This was the first time he used his crane finger of bliss. Li Fan's most ruthless move was to combine finger of bliss and acupuncture points together, making people unable to move while also enjoying the tide-like pleasure. That was the real pleasure. But Li Fan did not do such a sinister move, mainly because if he really used this move, that would be too wicked. Like Sima Fong, his 9 swords of bliss was to make people die in climax. Li Fan, on the other hand, was to make people collapse in climax. Both of them had their own merits, neither of them would spare the other. The two of you, have you played enough? Li Fan retracted his finger and looked at the two women. Hurry up and go back to where you came from, don't force me to kill you. Li Fan. This debt, I will settle it with you. The feeling on Qin Meng's body slowly dissipated. She picked up the umbrella that she dropped and put away her thin sword. She glanced at the few yellow-clothed gang thugs lying in a pool of blood and gave Li Fan a look. You're welcome. With that, Qin Meng used her qinggong and quickly left the school field like an immortal. Li Fan immediately reached out and unsealed Yin Tiantian's acupuncture points. Just as Yin Tiantian was about to curse, Li Fan patted her shoulder. Stop messing around, go and secretly follow this woman. See where she goes and who she meets. What right do you have to order me around? Yin Tiantian strongly resisted, making Li Fan feel that she was like a rebellious girl. Enough, stop messing around, the devil sect is also eyeing Murong Ying covetously. You've helped Murong Ying by following her. Li Fan's words seemed to have moved Yin Tiantian a little. In her heart, it seemed that Murong Ying was the #1 priority. I'll let you off this time. Yin Tiantian was still spouting vicious words. She seemed to have forgotten that she had just been severely punished by Li Fan. Fine. Spare me. Go quickly. Li Fan was too lazy to argue with this fellow, so he let her be. Yin Tiantian immediately used her qinggong and silently chased after Qin Meng. Both of them were experts. Qin Meng was good at hiding, and Yin Tiantian was good at tracking. He didn't know if this woman with a sudden change in personality could complete her task. However, the pile of corpses lying here still needed to be dealt with. Li Fan felt a headache coming on. The yellow shirt group was still stirring up trouble. What should we do? After the two women left, Zhao Jiechi, who was clamoring to compete with Li Fan, seemed to have come back to his senses. He looked at the corpses lying on the ground and his face turned pale. He was just a student, when had he ever seen such a scene? Call the police, what should we do? Li Fan rolled his eyes. Since it was already like this, what was the point of not calling the police? Oh, right, call the police. Zhao Jiechi suddenly realized and hurriedly took out his phone. However, the PE teacher had already called the police. The yellow shirt group still dares to stir up trouble. Li Fan said to Bai Lin Luo, who was beside him, go and inform Ling Tian and help me find where Sun Jiaoyang is. I think I should take the initiative to talk to him. Bai Lin Luo nodded. After all, this matter was quite big. The yellow shirt group had gone too far this time. They actually stirred up trouble in the school. No matter what, the school was a place for learning. There were so many students here. If they stirred up trouble here, it would be too easy to hurt the innocent. Since Sun Jiaoyang wanted to do this, Li Fan couldn't be courteous to them. Bai Lin Luo knew what Li Fan was thinking. If he wanted to mess with Sun Jiaoyang, then he would have to help. However, at this moment, Sun Jiaoyang was sitting in a private jet at the airport. He took the satellite phone from Wang Baiqiang, who was beside him. After making the call, he frowned. Prepare to take off. Sun Jiaoyang tapped his pipe. If this fails, we'll take off immediately. Letting the fugitive stone go was Sun Jiaoyang's last resort. If he could really deal with Li Fan, then once and for all, he wouldn't have to leave City A. He could stay and help Wang Baiqiang rebuild the yellow shirt group. Wang Baiqiang had been in prison. Sun Jiaoyang had used all his connections and spent a lot of money to get him out of prison. He had gotten someone else to carry his case and go to prison. No matter what, Wang Baiqiang was his nephew. Perhaps Sun Jiaoyang had done too many heartless things in his early years and didn't have many descendants. He treated Wang Baiqiang as his son. Isn't stone quite fierce? He can't handle him no matter what. Wang Baiqiang was a little angry. This Li Fan, is he an immortal? Top 100, you're still young and impulsive. Sun Jiaoyang sighed and looked at his nephew. This time he had to take Wang Baiqiang with him. In this world, there are no immortals. However, there are some people who have some things that we don't understand. Sun Jiaoyang told his nephew, it's best not to provoke these people. But City A is our territory. Uncle, you worked hard to build up your family business here. Wang Baiqiang was very unwilling. Our brothers are here too. This is our route. When you come out to make a living, don't leave your roots behind. Sun Jiaoyang smoked his pipe and quietly reminded Wang Baiqiang, when you have roots, you will be pulled out and killed. But I'm not convinced, uncle. In this society, there are many things that we can't accept. But even if it's the chairman, he has to endure some things that he can't accept. Only a childish child would do things without restraint. Do you understand? Uncle, all right, don't say any more. Sun Jiaoyang waved his hand. Li Fan is a ticking time bomb. As long as he's in City A, he's a threat to us. As the saying goes, where there's life, there's hope. If we change to another city, we can start all over again. I'm still a little unwilling. Wang Baiqiang was very upset. Was the foundation that he had taken over from his uncle going to be destroyed in his own hands? All right, rest well for a while. Don't think about this anymore. Sun Jiaoyang was still quite calm. If he kept being nagged by his nephew, his mood would definitely not be good. Why hasn't the plane taken off yet? Air traffic control. Sun Jiaoyang's beautiful chief flight attendant told him, it should be able to take off in half an hour. Contact the airport and urge them. Sun Jiaoyang became slightly impatient. A long night means many dreams. You're tuning in to the Passion Pages YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.